Good morning. Commissioners meeting, Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. The three commissioners are present. We're going to start with public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to, I hate when I get a call just when the meeting starts. Elected officials and department head updates. I know that you have, so I'll start with you, Suzanne.
I understand that the commissioners wanted to talk about the state and federal grants, and so I was going to open the conversation for that, but Allison and Mike are on a tight timeline, and if we could shift to them first and then come back to me for that. Also, after Mike is done, I'd like to slip on in one more grant application to accept today.
Yeah, I think as long as, I don't think Kim was just listening in today as far as I know.
Which is perfect because I need her to notarize 4 documents later, if that's okay, Kim?
The notarization is closed for the day.
Crap, we have to start over, everybody.
It'll be fine, yeah.
All right.
You can't, because you're.
Oh, I think I'm part of it.
You're part of the certification of the
Little
document, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna jump ahead. And I'm gonna go to scheduled items, master agenda item number 1257, and it's a sole source contract with Brian Meyer, PhD, as Suzanne and Allison will be presenting. Vote to authorize a sole source of trauma response treatment court consultant contract with Dr. Brian Meyer for $82,589 from May 1st, 2025 to August 30th, 2026. Sole source from Brian Meyer is in the best interest of the county because after solicitation and a number of sources, competition was determined inadequate. Meyer is the only proposal received and it meets all requirements and criteria. This contract will be funded through the drug court discretionary grant from the Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistance. Go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Brian Meyer is an expert in trauma responsiveness training for treatment court professionals. And we know this to be true, that he is the man, according to Allison Welsh. We know this to be true because we originally tried to sole source under the Department of Justice Drug Court Expansion Grant, and they declined and required us to put it out to a competitive bid, which we did. And I emailed over 100 individuals listed on the SAMHSA website to have been trained by SAMHSA or through a SAMHSA program in trauma responsiveness. About 50 of those emails bounced back, which means about 50 made it to their destination. So we directly sourced 50 potentials and received one proposal from Dr. Meyer confirming he is the only one and it is in our best interest to contract directly with him. So this $82,589 contract will be covered under the drug court treatment grant covered by Department of Justice. Allison can answer any questions about the program, about treatment court, about Dr. Meyer. I can answer any questions about the technicality of procurement, which brings us back to you, and we're asking you to approve the sole source, which we have to revert back to because we have no competition to select from.
Is the price he submitted realistic? I mean, it isn't.
Yeah, I mean, so I met Brian when I first started at a training in California, the national training, and he is the subject matter expert in trauma. He's a traumatologist. I didn't know that existed, actually. So when I go to national conferences, he always trains there. He's at every national conference, All Rise. He comes to most state conferences, but you have to book him out a year or two ahead. So I started meeting with him 2 years ago to see if he'd be open to the scope of work. One, because we're a small, rural community, but I mean, the problem on my side is it's a lot of research and data collecting, and the plan is to publish. So we would be the first rural drug court to be certified trauma trained. So there's a statewide learning collaborative in trauma, but it's not nearly as extensive as what we have planned. He reduced his rates to do this contract for us, which I really appreciate. He knows that we're rural and don't have a ton of money. And if we don't use this money, it'll just revert back to the government. So it was phenomenal that he applied. I was super flattered. And I can send you any of his TED Talks, his articles. He's a subject matter expert. And I would say currently 95 to 100% of our people have significant trauma. So while we give them all kinds of treatment in drug court and treatment court, we're not going to touch the underlying trauma. He specifically recommends 3 methodologies to reduce recidivism: EMDR, DBT, and seeking safety. So one of our clinicians is trained in EMDR. We're getting my staff trained in seeking safety. So we're going to offer that here, and the other 2 we're contracting out with a couple of other sources, so it can meet all of his requirements as well. It's a lot of work.
Thank you, Alice.
How many hours did we get out of it?
I forget the exact number, but I want to say it's 300, maybe 325, 350, something like that, in the 300s. Plus travel 3 times in person to be here.
So what he will also,
Every week or every month?
no, what he's gonna do is observe our court on WebEx. So we have team members that are on WebEx every week, so he'll observe us. But more specifically, not only will all the clinicians get trained, but he trains everyone in their role how to handle trauma, because each of our roles is completely different, like the judge. And so not only does he train each of our roles and train the clinicians, he teaches us how to function as a team to deal with people with trauma, and he evaluates the layout of the courtroom. We've done a few things to be trauma aware, so he'll take us from trauma aware, trauma informed to trauma responsive. And that's the ultimate goal of this sole source.
Any other questions?
Move to accept the grant?
Second.
Contract sole source.
Just contract sole source.
Right. And just remind you, motion would be the sole source, authorized sole source of trauma response treatment court. That's all in contract with Dr. Brian Meyer for $82,589 from May 1st, 2025 to August 30th, 2026.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
That's what I thought.
I second that.
Okay.
Once you got it correct.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Yes. Claudia?
Yes.
And Skip?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much. Good to see everyone, and if you have any questions about treatment court, feel free to stop by my office, happy to fill you in. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one, and this would be master agenda item number 1258, American Trails Capacity Grant. Suzanne and Mike are here. Action vote to accept and sign the grant agreement and related documents for $9,350 in no match to rehab Cheshire Rail Trail North 1.6 mile section from Surrey to Keene Town Line to the Amy Brown Trail header located in Keene, New Hampshire. Okay.
Okay. This is a mini grant from a private foundation, American Trails. And we applied to this back in January. They awarded us to fix that 1.6 mile stretch. We're going to be spending the funds on equipment rental. I invited Mike Kowalczyk. He is the president of the Rail Trail Collaborative. He can answer any specific questions about the project, and I can answer any specific questions about the grant. This is a grant that will be paid to us in advance. So one caveat, we're supposed to be receiving the documents. I have not received them, and I'm now getting ghosted for the first time by a funder. I don't know what to make of this, but I just wanted to mention that I'm not sure what this means or how to respond to it. But I've posed some questions to them, and I've asked for the grant agreement, so I cannot say that I've read this agreement that I'm asking you to agree to, because we haven't received it. So if there's anything surprising in it, I can bring it back to you. Or if you want, I can bring it back either way, whatever you would like to do with this. I'm not able to speak to the specific terms without it.
Mike, I recall when I was on council, we met at Amy Brown and working with the Trails group.
Pathways for Keene or BiPAC or?
Yeah. We finished that section.
What got finished was the Amy Brown Trail header itself and the trail from there going back towards Hurricane.
Oh, not
This
the
is
other
going
one?
the other
Oh, okay,
direction.
so we're back to Stonewall Farm instead?
Yes, heading back that
Okay,
direction. So this is going the other way. So we completed the section in Surrey, which is through the 1 mile cut.
Yeah, I just went to the dump the other day and saw that. That was
Yes, right,
really cool.
yeah,
Really
we did
nice.
that last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And we're finishing up Westmoreland right now. We've got probably another month or so of work all the way to the Westmoreland Walpole town line. This 1.6 miles would complete the whole northern part of the Cheshire Rail Trail. And we're getting close close to having the whole southern part done as well. So we're getting pretty close to having the Cheshire Trail completed, but this does that 1.6 miles, removing trees, clearing ditches, clearing culverts, that kind of stuff is what we'll be doing.
When is Walpole scheduled? Is that,
Walpole's kind of working on their own right now, so they've been kind of managing themselves. They did an RTP grant a couple of years ago. From what I understand, they're doing some like mowing and light work. So we haven't gone into there for that reason. They kind of want to function on their own. So we're working, in fact, Suzanne, I think was going to bring up maybe
Yep, spoiler
we're looking to do 4 miles in Fitzwilliam next year. So we're applying for an RTP grant right now to do that. We get that done. Again, everything but Walpole will be done, except we got the bridges over 101 and Swansea Factory Road. The city of Keene got a plan to put the bridge over 101.
did they get their money yet?
They're applying for a TAP grant on that, I believe, to get the money. So I asked Don Lucier, hey, can I kind of spearhead the bridge over Swansea Factory Road? And he said, you might guess.
Yep.
So my approach is, Keene wants to use the Old Bailey Bridge. So my sales pitch is, they're donating the bridge. I'm in contact with the president of Cold River Bridge, who's intrigued with the whole idea that this is like this community effort to put in the missing link of the trail. So he said he'll take a look at the site and get back to me. And then if he donates some in-kind labor, equipment, something, then I'm gonna start hitting up like the Putnam Foundation and CNS and Timken, and we even think we can use an RTP grant to help fund it, a GIA grant to help fund it, try to pull together all the funding, put that bridge in.
It's gonna be a very complex funding package.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody ever does this, but, kudos to you for the work that you've been doing on this project, really.
yeah.
It's volunteer, by the way. This is my
Yeah.
retired.
Oh, yeah, I know all about it. Yeah, I sit with Chuck all the time.
What's your guess on the grant money being available? I mean, is any of that money still in question, or?
So this is $9,350. I don't know what to make of this. It's an unusual situation. It could be that they received 300 applications and it just takes time. They too are a volunteer board and it could just take time to go through. It's been some odd communications. I don't really know how to describe this, just totally out of the usual, which is not unusual. Very small private foundations, they don't have a rule book, so to speak. They're just winging it like the rest of us. And they're private, so they can kind of do what they want and it's no big deal. So I figure I'll just sit tight for a couple more weeks and see what happens. What I do know from what's on their website is that once awarded, the project will have to be completed by the end of the year. Mike's gonna get started on it in May/June, maybe in August, so we won't start on it. I won't give him notice to proceed until or unless we've received the funds or some communication. Most importantly, the grant agreement, I wanna see the terms of this agreement, but my guess would be is that my impression so far is that they are super informal, super informal, and probably overwhelmed by the response that they got for a small volunteer board, and that it's just gonna take them some time to get to, we're one of 300 for a tiny grant.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
How do we hedge our bets on that? I mean,
We just wait and do nothing until we hear from them. That's how we hedge the bet, that we don't take any risks until we have the money, or at least the promise of it.
I'm not planning to spend any money until you have it in the.
Yeah, he won't do anything until he hears from me, I won't do anything until I hear from them. It's just kind of thought that we would have heard from them by now. They're not really responsive. But I don't wanna be annoying, because they're giving us money.
we can still just move to accept it.
Yeah, we accept it, all we're doing is allowing her then to work through the process. And
Correct.
when we get the money, then that's when the work will begin.
Yes, and what I will do, if there is any surprise or anything that is truly unusual out of this, I will bring it back. But from what I can tell, I think it's just gonna be one of those, it might even be that they're calling this an agreement, but really what they have are 3 bullet points, so they're gonna post-it note to a check. For all I know, it's just hard to tell having never worked with them before. But our hope is that they can become one of our annual requests. that they're gonna be on our regular rotation of grants.
Very good. I'd move to accept it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart, and Commissioner DiBernardo?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Just making sure. All right, you good?
Yes, not on the agenda, can I squeeze in
Yeah,
an
yeah,
item here related to rail trails before we go on to the other grant items?
yeah.
This will be super fast. Recreational trails program that we were just hinting at. I regret not thinking ahead and making it part of this. But I'm hopeful you wouldn't mind if we move to accept to apply to that one. We would be coming back to, because it's a one-year process between when we apply and when they make the grant. So applications for this program happen this spring, whereas the program gets implemented, the project would occur next spring. This will be for the 4.7 mile section of the Cheshire Rail Trail South in Fitzwilliam from Rhododendron Road to Templeton Turnpike. And I've written that application. I was just starting to tell Mike before the meeting. I've even done the Heritage Bureau review. We have to submit a small payment for them to check to make sure there's no endangered species that are gonna be impacted. Otherwise, we're pretty well prepared to submit this application on time. And if awarded, which it feels very likely, they hear from us a lot, we're going to the application workshop this very afternoon. So we would be looking for you to approve the application submission. Mike can answer any questions about the project.
Rhododendrons aren't endangered species, right?
Definitely not the road.
Not the road is not endangered.
Well.
We do know there to be species there because when I did the check last night, it did show potential impacts, but it doesn't tell me the species. The next step is to pay them $25 to give us the list.
Okay,
So you're looking for a motion to accept the grant?
A motion to approve the application of the grant, yes.
right,
So,
Second.
okay. See no other questions? Commissioner Clark,
yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Commissioner DiBernardo?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I
Perfect.
make two quick comments?
Two?
Two.
All right, yes.
First is we recently, working with Southwest Regional Planning Commission, City of Keene, Equities for Keene, collaborative I run, we created a map of the region's rail trails on one side and the City of Keene on the other side. So I have a copy here for everybody if you guys take a look at, so that basically make it easier for people to see where all our trails are. So that's the first quick comment. The second one is to plant the seed of the idea that in the future, does the county take ownership of the property? And the reason I say this is we're putting a lot of time and effort and money into fixing these trails. And my next thing I'm thinking about is how do we make sure they're maintained, right? Currently, snowmobile clubs do a lot of work. The collaborative does a lot of work. It's all volunteers. That's great from a cost perspective. It's risky from a work getting done perspective because if volunteers decide I'm gonna go fishing instead, they do, right? So if,
Or go to Maine.
yeah.
Which one of them does?
So if there's any inkling of interest in this, I could come back with, what I think it might cost to do it, what equipment might be needed, how many people you might need, all that kind of stuff in order to maintain it. And there's probably about 80 miles in Cheshire County of rail trail. So something to think about.
Something to
Just
think
kind of
about.
plant the seed real quick.
Couple other thoughts to go with this seed that we're planting, a little bit of fertilizer, if you will. One is that there's a rule in the books that says counties in New Hampshire can own linear parks, can own parks. So just incidentally, whether or not this can be done, yes. Also too, we have bumped up against a dead end multiple times with funding. Because there is also a rule on the books that says the Department of Transportation is not allowed to convert any state-owned railroad right-of-ways to a degree in which it cannot be reverted back to railroad in 6 months or less. This is a rule that is interpreted as no permanent changes, no permanent changes. Because of this rule, federal money will not fund major projects. We do not qualify for millions of dollars, which we otherwise would, to do things like install this bridge. We would have already had that answer years ago if Cheshire County owned, not to say that this is the reason you should own the trails, but just that you should know that one of the big hangups of doing major projects on the rail trails is that we can't access federal money because it's not sustainable, because we're not allowed to make permanent changes. And if Cheshire County owned it, then we circumvent that rule, if that makes sense. We could suddenly
Another
apply
place
for
I-
big grants.
Made me think about it is we were in Florida a couple of years ago for the winter, and we were riding what's called the Legacy Trail there, which is beautiful near Tampa and Sarasota and that. And there was a guy working on the trail, so I stopped and I started chatting with him. I said, well, who's the property? And he said, the county.
Yeah.
And he goes, the county takes care of the whole thing and makes sure it's maintained, because it runs through many towns and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm like, well, there's at least one example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's already called the Cheshire Rail Trail. You wouldn't even have to do a name change.
So something to consider.
It's a thought,
Thank
just a
you.
thought.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be considered permanent after the first train went over the bridge, right?
Well, that was in the 1840s when the first train went over the bridge.
No.
I guess it wasn't permanent
The
with
bridge, any
BJ.
bridge that we were to build.
I don't know,
Wouldn't
is
be
100
permanent
years
anymore.
permanent? It lasted quite some time. The stone one is still there, it just needs railings. But even something like that, we can't get the funding to put railings where it clearly needs to have railings.
Well, there, I recall, I was on the Heritage Commission when they were discussing that, and we all looked for pictures, historic pictures, and we actually found 3 of them with railings on it.
Yeah,
And everybody was going like this to try to figure out, okay, let's make sure we get the right railing. So I think they did, right?
That I don't know.
yeah, we know what railing needs to go on it, yeah, but we can't get the funding. We can't get the funding because federal funding is considered unsustainable, given the rule that you can't make a permanent change. Because if the state can come in there at any given time and say, I think we want to put a train back. And that rule in the book allows that. So if we make all of these repairs, and then 2 months later, the state can be like, we're gonna bring the train back, then all of those repairs can be upended. And for that reason, the federal government, under the Department of Transportation, they have a couple of different grant programs that could fund these bridge projects, but they won't unless it's sustainable, unless we can assert, and the landowner can assert, these changes will be permanent. We will not turn it back into a railroad in 6 months after you've invested many millions of dollars to put a bridge here. Even the railings that they know need to come
Somebody ought
back.
to change that rule, I mean, because
We either have to
Well,
change the
we've been
rules or
talking
change the
to
owners.
It's
Northern
ridiculous.
Borders and DOT and
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous to think that we'll ever get rail back again.
it's even like the agencies don't.
You never know,
want to talk.
Massachusetts is talking about it east-west from Boston to North Adams. So, I mean, they're talking about creating brand new rail, they're not even looking at going back to the old, so you never know, I mean, they're not completely off the wall, but I think in all honesty, New Hampshire Department of Transportation doesn't think for,
I think it's pretty unlikely, especially in this region,
especially in this region,
you know. Because where's it going?
right?
Okay, that's.
That's it.
All right.
That's it for trails.
Thank you, everybody.
But there's more
Thanks for-
grants to
thanks for
come, don't
everybody on the
worry.
grants.
So you wanted to talk about feds and the grants?
I've got 2 other items real quick on the agenda to roll through. 2 grant agreements to accept, 2 brand new grants.
Oh, that's right too. Sorry. Master agenda item number 1259, FDA section 5310, New Hampshire DOT, RCC program grant agreement. Suzanne's here. Action expected, vote to accept and authorize Chris Coates to sign the grant agreement and related documents for up to $312,200 per fiscal year, or $624,400 in total, and up to $78,050 matched per fiscal year, or $156,100 total. Funds will be used to provide accessible transport mobility management services for seniors and individuals with disabilities, matched to be met entirely by volunteer driver hours.
Okay, this is the Department of Transportation grant that we partner with Southwest Region Planning Commission Community Volunteer Transportation Company, HCS, and the Keene Senior Center to provide to provide volunteer and demand response transportation to seniors and people with disabilities. This is for a 2-year grant with the option to extend an additional 2 years. Each year will be $312,000. We hold back roughly $15,000 for indirect. The vast majority, all the rest of it gets sub-granted to those agencies. Can I answer any questions on the program? We've done this one for years. It's one of our oldest ones.
Who are the sub-grantees?
HCS, Community Volunteer Transportation Company, CVTC, Keene Senior Center. Those are technically sub-grantees, and subcontractor is Southwest Region Planning Commission. They're our regional mobility manager. They coordinate the efforts of the RCC, Regional Coordinating Council.
Is that one of the requirements too?
Correct, yes. Well, it was. Technically, the regional mobility management is no longer a requirement, but the Regional Mobility Council has elected to continue it. But as of July 1st, it's no longer required under their grant program.
But one of the things I did talk to Suzanne about is to
Smart Ride?
reach out to Scott at Smart Ride, because they're probably doing the heaviest lift here in this region alone. If you have 13 and they're looking at 16 to 18,000 this year, a wheelchair service. I mean, so they're, any funding stream that can support that program is, I think, a good thing. So I'll reach out to him and see if he can start getting involved at least on the board with them, so that they can get some level of revenue out of it.
So the mobility management, they manage the grant?
No, we manage the grant.
Okay,
They manage the Regional Coordinating Council.
and what does the council do?
So they meet monthly, and then there's an executive board that meets more frequently, and there's various subcommittees that convene in order to coordinate community transportation. To avoid overlap, it covers up to 35 towns. So they coordinate among each other to make sure that there isn't overlap in the services, that there's coverage of all of our towns, that the providers are working with each other, that when a provider cannot provide accessible transportation, such as wheelchair transport, that they are able to connect with another agency that can, that the rider does not have to make a second phone call for that to happen, among various other things. This is also the team that put together the microtransit program, not under this funding, but this is the same team that manages the other related programs, so they are in the know of what's going on with different transportation initiatives in the community, and so they work to coordinate these different initiatives.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, motion to move forward and accept.
And make a motion to accept and authorize Chris Coates to sign the grant agreement.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Commissioner DiBernardo?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Master agenda item number 1260, New Hampshire DOS Traffic Enforcement Grant Application and Agreement. Suzanne's here. Action expected, vote to apply to and if awarded, accept to authorize Chris Coates to sign application documents and agreements and or related documents for up to $8,500 and $2,125 match for October 2025 to September 30th, 2026 to conduct patrols and reimburse officers for overtime match to be met by dispatchers' time during the patrols. So in kind.
Correct. So
Where are
this
the
is,
patrols?
Well, first, do we have a report from last year?
we did not have this grant last year. We also did not have it the year before. We had it the year before that, but we didn't use it. The last time we had it and used it was 4 years ago. So this grant pays for overtime for deputies to do traffic enforcement patrols during coordinated efforts with the State Department of Safety. There are 4 date ranges. The date ranges are between a few days and a couple of weeks. The first one under this program would be December 10th to January 1st. I'd have to look up the other 3, but something similar. where they are looking to pay for the overtime of our deputies as well as officers across the state so that there can be an increased visibility of officers during that time frame in order to, compel compliance of traffic enforcement.
Have they given you any guidance on how they are, that they will be using it this year?
This year will be different, I'm assured, because we have numerous new deputies. And according to the newest one of the newest ones who has been put in charge, he says that most of them are young and would love the overtime. So they've assured me that they have plenty of overtime to use up for this. I did make it very clear that we have to, as part of accepting and applying for this grant, we are committing to at least one patrol for each of these 4. And that there is numerous amounts of paperwork that has to be processed behind the scenes, even when no funds are being used. But the administrative burden of this grant is quite high. There are 5 forms that you submit
Yeah,
for reimbursement.
This grant is actually, it's a requirement for the state to receive federal money for the Click It program.
Correct.
And the DWI.
The DWI is another one,
Yeah.
distracted driving.
Distracted
And then
driving,
there's
yeah.
Mobilization, they call it mobilization, I think it just means general
The
category.
questions that I have is, okay, how many hours are we putting onto our cars? How many stops?
Up
are we
to
actually-
125 hours.
Per car?
No, total. Cumulative among all of the cars for this particular grant. Up to 125 hours. They are required to make 3 stops per hour. They're required to document the stops and the type of stop. Is it for the DUI? Is it for, what else do people get pulled over for? Whatever they get, like there's a grid that they have to fill
So
out.
why is it, when I was on council, I asked every year too, why is it I can never get a report?
You can get a report, I
No,
can.
I asked for one every year. Did we get one? I mean, council, I asked for one, never got one.
What report are you looking for?
That report you're just talking about,
I can give you that report.
So what is the coverage area?
It depends on where they can really go wherever they wanna go.
They typically
We're-
go
we're-
over to Home Depot, that area
We
there.
put in the
and up.
application high traffic areas during commute times,
The jug handle at,
but if they
by,
wanna go somewhere else, they can go somewhere else. Really, we just need them to work the overtime during the date range, so if a deputy is like, I'll do overtime, but only on Tuesday morning at 3 AM or whatever, then fine, cause we need to check the box. But we put in the proposal, we're telling Department of Safety that we're gonna aim for, we're gonna try for these intersections on all the main routes, that 9, 10, 12, 101, 202, with extra emphasis in the 4 towns that are our traffic jurisdiction. Ringe, I think is one, Roxbury, Gilsum, I think, I forget the other one, but whatever those 4 towns are, there'll be extra emphasis in those towns. That's what we're saying, but the agreement that we have with them is that really you can put them anywhere in your jurisdiction, at any time, as long as you cover at least 1 shift during that day range.
The reason they have this is because of the cuts the State Department of
State Police.
Transportation has done for the state police. They don't have enough state police to do this job because they cut the budget. Then they shift it all back down to the county or the cities and towns to have our cops do it, pay us this, what they call overtime, sort of, make it look like, oh yeah, we're giving our folks overtime. But what it really comes down to is they're putting the burden down on us, and it may be actually costing us more than the $9,800 that they're giving us. So, I don't like the program, and I never did. I'm gonna vote against it.
I'm not sure I understand it enough to vote. Why do we do this?
One of the things I think we can do, the sheriff is away, I think he's in Poland right now. And so, we can have him come next week
Yeah,
and speak to it.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
I'm doing this on purpose. I'm asking you
Yeah.
to vote to both, allow to vote to apply and if awarded to accept the grant. So if there's any discomfort, I'm bringing this forward with plenty of time before the deadline. Just let me know and we can bring in Eli. Doug Carroll is going to be the deputy who's going to run the program, but he's brand spanking new at it.
Right.
Eli would be the one to answer questions.
Correct.
yeah, I don't feel like I have any idea what I would be voting on, so I would not be happy voting today.
That's not, that's not a problem.
That's
Thank
not a
you.
problem.
Yeah.
That happens to be the certificate of vote that you botched. So what a convenience. Maybe Skipper brought that upon himself.
Maybe it wasn't an accident.
Yeah, how about that?
Faith,
God's
yeah.
intervention.
That's right, there you go. Now I don't have to run downstairs to the printer. Thanks for sparing me the stairs.
No, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if they give us more money, if there actually was a report that I could look at, that we could look at to see what the hell it's costing us. For some reason, the city of Keene never wanted to do it either. They never, but it's just very funny to me that the state of New Hampshire, who, will give us this carrot and stick in order for them to get millions of dollars for their department, that they don't fund. And what they use the money for, I don't know, probably put it in the general fund for something else. I mean, it's a funny game that they play, and it's just one of those things, that downshifting, that I really can actually do something about. It's a very small little thing, but anyway,
Okay.
sorry about that.
No,
Don't be
I think,
sorry.
I actually predicted as much.
yeah, we talked about it yesterday. We talked about this. This has all been rehearsed, okay? Like, we've been here, done this before.
so.
Yeah. And this is one of Terry's favorites, so.
Yeah, I do this much.
Jack Pratt used to call it the entrapment grant.
Oh, that too,
He
yeah.
always voted against it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Well, one thing
he
to
was a-
note, I mean,
he was
we'll
a
still
good
bring this back, but
commissioner,
it just pops in my head to let you know too, as we think about the entrapment. In order to access also state funding, but it would be a 80-20 split with a cash match, we can get speed enforcement equipment. You can only access the speed equipment grant if you have this traffic enforcement overtime patrol grant. So they do make one grant tethered to the other. Technically, they're completely separate grant programs, but you only qualify for the equipment grant program if you have an active enforcement grant. So they are also interested in applying. There are only 4 pieces of equipment that are allowed. The one that they're most interested in is the trailer that flashes the speed as you drive by it, specifically for Westmoreland on your way out to Maplewood Nursing Home.
And when you say they, who's they that are interested in this?
Deputies, the sheriff's office, it would go under their budget. Eli would have to find the cash match in his budget. This would be a 2026 item. If awarded, the funds could be expended in 2026. So he would have to include that in his regular budget request. Because it has to be a cash match, in-kind is not allowed. Whenever in-kind is allowed, I make that I always go for the in-kind. Most grants allow it. And I have creative ways of tallying up literally millions, we've done it before. But this one, only cash, that's their rules.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just food for thought. I will bring Eli back next week or the following, whenever it's good for him.
Okay,
Yeah,
Fed grant, because we talked about this too.
yes, so we're not talking,
Well, did we even get the motion?
Oh, just like a motion to,
It's
but there's no motion, because
There's
they're
no
not.
motion.
to table it,
We'll
yeah,
bring-
Oh, to table it, yeah, oh, sure, yes, please. Sorry,
technically.
of course.
Move to table it.
Second,
Okay, Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
yes.
Commissioner DiBernardo.
Yes.
Bring it back next week. Okay, so we had touched base, I had gone up to see Suzanne about a week ago or so and talked about what the unknowns, if she had gone to some national grants, what are people saying out there when it comes to grants, especially with the way the feds are right now. And so I thought it would be worthwhile for you guys to hear the conversation that we had and what Suzanne brought to the table.
Yeah, I just wanna let you know that in general, the tone around grants from the grant professional community is just to take it in stride. They're kind of sending the message of everybody chill. There's always ups and downs in everything, especially in grants. This is just par for the course for the world of grants. And things are gonna flip-flop back. Slowly, federal agencies are making announcements of programs we're bringing back. Right now, I checked this morning, there's only 1,200 grants listed on grants.gov as active grants. The vast majority of those are Department of Defense, Department of State. They are not grants for local jurisdictions for anything. But I understand that what's happening right now is the federal agencies are reviewing their grant programs for compliance with our new president administration, making changes to those programs, revising their notices of funding opportunities, and then putting them back up online. Department of Justice announced about 5 weeks ago that they were gonna put most of their, was specifically named programs up before the end of June. Among those that are specifically announced to be re-released before the end of June is one that I've been following with interest for us, for our mental health and justice collaboration, to have potentially a case manager embedded within the sheriff's office. I've talked off and on with Eli about that over the years, and that is one of them slated to return before the spring, so I
How
take
long
that
is
as a
Keens?
promise.
Keens goes for 3 years?
I have no idea about Keens.
Well, they're psychiatrists, I
I have
mean.
no idea.
Yeah.
And theirs is not funded under a federal grant, theirs is funded under the state opioid abatement
Oh.
program, yes. So that's not the same funding, but it is an external funding source. So if there's any particular concerns, or I don't know exactly what you would like to know or hear, but I did want to let you know that among the grant community, we're all just trying to keep people from panicking, because we believe that there's really nothing to panic about. It's just in a state of change. It's gonna settle, things do.
Is it normal, the 1,200, is that a normal number?
No, that is not a normal number.
What's a normal number?
12,000, in the tens of thousands. Definitely 6, 7, 8,000 in the thousands. So 1,200 is really low. I've seen it upwards of 20-something thousand grants at any given time when it's at the height. Federal grants usually will start being announced October, November, but they peak December, January, February, and then they start to peter off again after that in the springtime. But it looks like this year, most people are just predicting that it's all gonna be pushed back. And then they're also saying with all of these massive revisions, you gotta read everything word for word. Don't take for granted that you know a program if you've applied to it before. There's probably a lot of rule changes.
Is there any wording that you're looking at that changes?
Yes, some programs may not return because they do go really into keywords, like DEI is obviously one of those keywords that they don't want appearing in grant announcements, they don't want funding spent on. That's one of the things they're reviewing, so if there's any programs that embed it within the federal codes or the federal rules, those are being looked at from the entire federal, but then it's gonna take time. Any programs that are doing that within their, individual activities will also not be allowed to do that. We do not have any grants that I anticipate to be affected by any of this. I've reviewed all of our programs from both the notice of funding opportunity on the federal level all the way down to our individual proposals. I don't see anywhere in any of our programs. The only one that I suspected a few weeks ago that might be at risk was the solar panel one for the Red Barn. But then there was just an announcement a few days, literally days ago, that said that that program had been fully reviewed and everything is determined okay. We won't know with certainty until we submit for reimbursement, but we're slated to do that before the end of the year. So we'll know within months if there's a problem there. That's 77,000. That's one of our smaller grants. Is there anything in
But so
particular
it's-
that's worrying you guys?
So so what I'm hearing is that it's on their side, not our side.
Yes.
Our side, we've done a cleaning of,
Yes.
or ensuring that we're meeting the standards of what's
Correct.
being asked.
On our side, I've done everything already. When all of this started happening 6, 8 weeks ago, I read through every one of our, so a federal grant comes with a variety of layers of rules. The overarching rule is the all federal rules. And then you have the uniform grant guidance. And then you have the program itself publishes, these are the rules that apply to this grant. And then you have the individual grant agreement that goes with it, plus your application. So these are all of your layers. All of the layers that are customized to us, our proposal, are at the federal rules that apply to that grant program and the grant agreement. Those 3 documents for every one of our programs, I at least skimmed, if not thoroughly read, to ensure where's our exposure points, what can we expect? And like I said, I feel like the solar panel one, which has already been a concern that has been quelled very recently, that was the one that I thought was at greatest exposure of them all. None of the ones on the federal programming level have any exposure to, we're looking at things to do with climate change and terminology around climate change. We're looking at DEI, terminology around DEI, especially as it relates to training programs, and diversity and recruiting programs. We don't have any activities like that are funded. We don't have any grant programs where the purpose has anything related to this. If we did, then we would have maybe a little bit of concern. I don't know how much, I would look into it, but from what I can tell, I think I've looked at everything, all we can do is wait until somebody says something, and nobody, not one single funder has reached out for anything yet.
So the Connected Families, is that self-sustaining now? I mean, it started with grants.
It's a Medicaid reimbursement, it does have.
It does have a SAMHSA grant.
SAMHSA grant.
SAMHSA is under complete restructuring, and I'm expecting to get a grant agreement at some point with a name change. But again,
Right, so they're saying not to panic, but at the same time, you heard 1,200, normally 8,000 to 12,000. But they're thinking that at the end of the day, it will come back, it'll be in a different name, possibly different form, and that's what they're expecting, and that's what we're hoping for, and that's why they're saying this isn't the first time they've seen something like this, maybe not as dramatic, but.
this is dramatic, yeah, but it's not the first time, and you know what, when I got my orientation to the world of grants, I didn't know because I didn't have comparison, but when I started this job, Cheryl might remember, the Uniform Grant Guidance was brand new introduced, and it just was an upheaval with the grant world.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a point of comparison, so I didn't really know quite what the disturbance it was. But the kind of panic that's happening right now feels very similar to that, where people are like, oh my God, they're changing everything. And they were, and yes, that is, that's something to panic a little bit about. It's everything we know. It's also what I'm here to do, and I'm following it for you. Never have I been so intrigued by the day-to-day. Never has there been a reason to follow the headlines for grants day-to-day. It's kind of more, I mean, at best, maybe you have a headline once a month. Maybe you get 5 or 4 of them all year. But now we're getting them very frequently, so I have a lot to read. I've not seen anything yet that's made me feel that we as a county need to worry. Other places, yes, there's concern in other places.
Yeah, does it come back, one, and that's what everybody's waiting for, and if it does come back, does it come back at the levels that have been in the past?
Yeah.
And then 3, does it come back in such a different way?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure it comes back in a different way. That seems to be clear, and grants that are already returning are appearing that way. Like the fine print has changed, the program has been restructured, some terms and conditions have shifted, the way that they have set the priorities or the language in the notice of funding opportunity has changed, 100% of that. But the first 2, most people seem to feel like it's probably gonna come back in maybe at a different flow, maybe with different timing. But what seems to be sure, anything goes, I suppose, but the world of grants is not going away.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing that we're dealing right now. I've been actually, this morning, while I'm sitting here too, is talking with Henry Littman from the Department of Health and Human Services and Kate Horgan from the DuPont Group to see if we can set up another time where we can all come together with the nursing home administrators and talk about Medicaid and the unknowns of Medicaid on the federal level and the state level. Now, we're starting to get a picture on the state level because there's a 3% decrease to funding to providers. So, what does that mean? How does that affect us on multiple levels in the county? And then on the federal level, what are we seeing? There's been some things that have been sent out that's saying they're not going to be funding this or that. So instead of just like getting angst about it and not really get the player in the room that knows, and so that's what we're going to do in the next few weeks. And just within another 3 to 4 weeks, we'll have them come back in again and just keep us aware of what's going on, whether it's ProShare, whether it's bed tax, whether it's, whatever that's coming our way. But that's all we can do right now. Yeah. Because there's so many unknowns until they're known.
It's also worth noting that, and they reminded us at the grants conference, that every time we have a change in presidential administration, this stuff actually happens every time. This particular administration gets more of a spotlight. But every time we have a presidential administration, they always go over all of these rules, they make changes. Usually it's more subtle, usually it's more gradual. Usually it's not like, let's put a halt to all of it, look at it at once, let's cause all these headlines. Usually it's not like that. The drama usually isn't there. But this activity occurs every time. And it happened 4 years ago with Biden, it happened 4 years before that when Trump took office then too. They all like to review and make sure that everything aligns. I think we're getting more publicity, but it's not totally unusual what's happening right now. It's just happening faster and differently.
So basically what you're saying, if you can keep your head when those are about you are losing theirs and
Yeah,
blaming it on you.
yeah, just chill.
I concur basically with what you're saying, because there's nothing else that can be done other than to monitor the situation. And obviously in the back of our minds, we're trying to plan for whatever may not be there. But
Yeah.
at the moment, as you say, stay calm and
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the state has not slowed down a bit with their grants. And if anything, they are more organized this year than usual. It's a little weird. I like it. They're rolling out their grant programs as if nothing's happening. So I would take that as a sign that things are okay. And I have, most of our grants are state pass-through anyway, so business as usual there. I've increased looking at foundations. I've increased searching there. I have more time to look through it. I've already looked at some mini grants. I've proposed mini grants to various different program people that are in various phases of considering their options.
excuse me, what's a mini grant? What-
I consider under 10,000 a mini
Okay.
grant, yeah. I look at those with caution because I don't wanna put $10,000 worth of hours, cause a lot of times it doesn't matter what the dollar amount is, you still have all of the same stuff you have to do. So I look at it and consider, well, what are our strings attached and is it gonna be worth it? So I take under 10,000 case by case. But over 10,000 generally worth our while, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So I would say under 10.
And again-
there's a lot of those still,
And again, we don't know.
we don't know.
I mean, we don't know if we're gonna be able to get the vests for, what are the bullet vests that.
Yep, that's one of them, and it's been announced by
Department
Department of Justice, it will come out.
Right, but will it come out, these are just things, so we're just sort of monitoring and just preparing ourselves to what that means, and that's why we continue to have these discussions. So I just wanted to throw it out there so you're aware of it, and we move on, so.
Yep, I will bring to you anything that alarms me. Believe me, I won't be able to hold it back.
That would be a
That'd be a
surprise.
first.
Would it be a surprise for you guys? I'll even put it in a PowerPoint for you.
I think you do.
Alright.
I think you would,
caveats.
I think you would explode if you had to hold it in.
Are you sure?
So-
Yeah, so and at any time, any of you, feel free to call, Zoom, email, drop by, whatever works for you. I'm happy to let you know. I'm following this Monday through Friday. Sometimes on the weekends, it's getting interesting. Like I said, it's kind of fun how grants for once have a little bit of thrill.
So your grant class is gonna be starting soon.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. It's
I'm excited.
yeah, I
I
have
have a
18
project
people in this
for it.
class, by the way. I overbooked by 4 just for,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, it's just one more person, it's one more person. I have a waiting list of 8 people. I've cut off the waiting list about a month ago.
Yeah,
About a month ago. I still have people reaching out. I only sent 2 emails.
yeah.
And that's what I got with 2 emails and
No,
overbooked.
he also put it on
Well,
Facebook. That's the problem.
I better stop advertising
You
it.
stop.
No, please feel free. When people reach out, I tell them the class is full, but if you want, I'll put you on the list and I'll let you know.
It's
I
like-
am playing around with the idea of a summer express course to meet this need. I've had at least 2. One person is a teacher, I don't know what the reason of the other person, who said that they would love for it to be in the summer. I'm playing around with this, I might do it, but I might set like a minimum registration. I'm thinking Tuesdays and Thursdays, like lunch and learn from 11 to 1 o'clock. No, nothing additional, just the 2 lessons back to back, maybe a 10-minute break in between. No warm up, no quizzes, no homework, none of the extras, just the express rapid straight through the lesson for those who would like it. I'm thinking of that idea, but I feel like I would have to put in the notices that only if we get maybe 10 people probably would be the minimum. I don't know, Chris feels like people don't wanna, who wants to sit in delegation hall? I could see from the look of your face, you're not gonna sign up for my summer class.
People might like the bite-sized version of it too, if they.
I just said I
if they
was
can only get
worried
away from work for
vacation.
a couple hours.
Yeah,
People are on
I'm also
vacation,
playing
they
around
try
with
to
the
come in.
idea of doing just the searching.
Yeah,
Just one one class, you wanna learn how to find a grant, that's all that I'm doing for this one. I'm playing around with that idea too in the summer, but I wanna see how this one goes.
Well, the searching, when I worked for Annie Custer, that was half of my job, just telling people how they could find grants, so I'm sure that would be really helpful.
Your grant class is like a restaurant that just opened that only has select seating. So people want to get in, they can't get in, so they, just because of hot ticket, that's all.
And
I love it.
maybe if they put a 20 in your hand, maybe they.
This would work. This would work, but I am bribed best with edible arrangements. Sometimes chocolate, but always on a diet.
All right.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now you'll have a change of subject.
Hey, that was pretty efficient for 5 agenda items, basically.
5 agenda items in an hour, nice. See you later.
All righty. Thank you, Carl, for being patient.
Oh, sure,
Oh, Carl.
sure.
Master agenda item number 1261, semi-annual report, UNH Cooperative Extension. Carl is here, action expected, receive informational report on the last 6 months of operations for the UNH Cooperative Extension. Carl.
All right, well, thank you. Happy to be here and give you an update on our work and what we've been up to. First of all, I'm happy to report that we've hired a new county forester. Hale Morrell will be starting shortly. She's winding up her current job, but will be starting soon. In the meantime, we've had coverage from Dode Gladders, who's the Sullivan County Forester, and from Steve Roberge. They've been conducting programs, site visits, taking calls from the public, all along.
And Steve was, right?
Yeah, Steve, yes, right. Steve Roberge was the former, he was the county forester about 5 years ago. He moved up and now he's the state extension forestry specialist, but he lives in Peterborough, so he's still pretty close by, so we benefit from that. Recently, Dode held a low-impact logging workshop, I believe is in Walpole, back in February, going over management practices, harvesting techniques that allow landowners to harvest timber from their properties, but do so in a way that's going to have a lighter touch on the land and not disturb the soil, water as much. Christine with Nutrition Connection, she's been busy. She's had a number of 6-week series to area schools and Head Start centers in Jaffrey, Alstead, Winchester, Swansea, Key. With 4-H, let me see, I'm sorry.
That one you just mentioned, what is it?
Christine's.
Christine is with the Nutrition Connections program. So her, she's the one with the office right over there. Her work is involved with providing education specifically to low-income audiences for basically an improved nutrition. So she's working with area schools where she's like, they've got programs. I think one of them, for instance, is called Pick a Better Snack, where she'll go in, meet with students, introduce healthy snacks that might be alternatives that they may not have been as familiar, just talking about the importance of increasing the amount of fruits and vegetables that they're consuming. With the Head Start centers, she's also working with the parents so that the students that she's meeting with, as well as their parents, are kind of taking that information home so they can have a healthier diet.
And it's focused on low income versus just everybody who might need that information?
It's open to everybody, so when she's meeting with schools, she's meeting with all students. It's her work, as I understand it, tends to be with designated schools where there's a higher proportion of lower income students there, just so that it's, certainly everyone can benefit from information about eating more healthy. I know I can. But her particular work, her program, her funding focuses more on lower income students.
And that's because it's been shown that lower income people tend to eat worse than higher income people.
Yes, I think that it's recognizing that sometimes lower income
They buy the cheaper food.
might not have had, right, you know, whether it's access to healthier foods or what. That's why it's focusing on the lower income audience. With the 4-H program, there's been a number of programs. Astara has hosted a number of events focusing on winter hikes and recreational activities. Just earlier this month, there was the Cheshire County 4-H Presents, where we had 4-H kids from throughout the county coming and practicing their communication and communication skills. So throughout the day, these kids are doing things like they're giving presentations, they're doing demonstrations for judges, they're engaging in public speaking. You know, so these are all, they're working with things that they're interested in. So they're giving talks on subjects that they're interested in, or giving demonstrations on topics that they're interested in. But it allows them to kind of develop important skills that are going to serve them later on as adults. A number of these kids will now be going on, the ones that kind of rise to the top, the highest scoring presentations, they'll be going on to the state activities day. I think that's going to be held sometime either in May or June. Some of those presentations will actually move on to a regional level, and they'll be given the opportunity to give them at the Eastern States Exposition in Springfield this fall. So, there was also in the 4-H program, there was a statewide program, but it was held in Walpole, the Animal Science Bonanza. So the animal science is one of the areas that 4-H works in. It's a particularly strong area in Cheshire County. There's a number of clubs that are focused around that. So this is an opportunity where kids from throughout the state come into Walpole. There were a number of local specialists. I think they had some presentations from area veterinarians, people working in the animal industry. There were also some people from the university, state specialists and faculty coming in and introducing things like what sorts of careers are out there in animal science, giving kids a taste of you know, what are going on, and as well as just some basic stuff about raising animals.
What is the trend for people having cows, goats, stuff like that in the county now? Is it rising, is it still dissipating, or what's going on?
I don't think it's either rising or increasing. You know, there's always been a strong, call it a homesteader or a backyard livestock,
Hobby farmer.
population in the county. I think, if you're talking about chickens, that there has been a marked increase that.
In my neighborhood alone,
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
which is paying off because we're getting free eggs now.
Yeah, my daughter did this a few years ago, and she had 50 chickens. I said, what were you thinking? You need like 10. And all of a sudden, they just started giving eggs to the point where she'd miss some, and the next thing you know, you have baby chicks running around the place. I mean, it's crazy.
Out in Portland, Oregon, they were limited to 3 chickens it was a residential neighborhood, so my daughter had only 3.
Right, so certainly with backyard poultry, there's been a spike in that as people are seeing if they can make out producing their own eggs better than whatever they can find in the stores these days. As far as other livestock, you know, there's always been people raising a couple pigs for themselves or their families, or beef cattle or sheep. I haven't noticed particular increase or decrease in that. You know, every year, you know, throughout the year, I get questions from people talking about, you know, what's going on with my sheep, you know, how can I take better care of my pastures, that sort of thing.
Have you seen an increase or a decrease in vets
An increase or decrease in the number of
available?
vets available? That's another thing where I haven't seen an actual increase or decrease. I will say that we're actually fortunate in this corner of the state in terms of availability of large animal vets. Statewide, it's a real problem, that there are parts where there's, you know, a really strong dairy, you know, where the dairy industry is really strong or so on, where there's a shortage of large animal vets.
And what do you think, the reason I'm asking is because I'm gonna be helping an organization set up a scholarship program specific for vets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to look at what type of vet is most in need here.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we help that community grow?
Statewide, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and if it takes too much time to answer that, I'd be happy to do that offline with you,
Sure.
if that's easier for you.
Yeah.
But I am interested in how to help, you know, this group for that specific thing to try and grow more vets where
Yeah.
there's a shortage.
And just so you know, we, I worked with Fred Parcells and with,
Household pets is
with
really what's
others.
needed there.
Yeah, to create an emergency, vet center here in
Yeah.
Keene. Because right now, we're traveling an hour when there's an emergency. And we had a company that's doing this around the country, but they're doing it in big cities, and it's working. The problem here, when they came here, they wanted to go down to the next level. And they thought, let's do this. We actually did end up getting a site, and we were ready, but they just couldn't find the staff to staff it.
Yeah.
And so they just had to finally, after 2 years, say, we just can't. You just can't create it, you know.
And that, you know, that's the issue. When, you know, I had animal emergencies, I would travel more than an hour
Yeah.
to the emergency room with my pets. And, you know, because they're specialists versus a generalist. And, you know, it's not only, you know, a lot of money, but it's also a lot of stress when you can't find a specialist.
Right, as well as, and
You know, the veterinary referral hospitals are few and far between.
Yeah, we just had actually it was my daughter's prom date. Had just opened up a emergency surgery clinic in Bedford. He's from Keene, and you know he's been working under some great surgeon up in Burlington, but wanted to come back, and so but for the catchment area, he thought that was the best area. He and his wife both are vets, so they're both going to be working there, and they just pulled one from Keene that's going to be working over there too. That worked out at Ashton Kane's place.
So anyway, I'd be interested because they do want to set something up for,
Sure.
specifically for veterinarians.
Yeah, I think there are probably multiple needs out there. The emergency vet for, you know, for companion animals, large animal vets, and things. I'd be happy to talk with you more about it. I'm, you know, just kind of thinking out loud. I know that there's some people at the university I could connect you with, or with the state Division of Animal Industry who could probably, who have more of a finger on the pulse of,
Okay.
you know, what's going on as far as the pre-vet program
Yeah.
at UNH, as well as the number of vets that are licensed in the state. So they could certainly speak to that.
Thank you.
Sure. Let me see. Within the food and ag program, we had a number of programs. Just before the end of the year, we had our corn and forage meeting. That's another statewide program for the state's dairy and livestock sector. We hold that in Westmoreland at Stewart and John's Sugar House. And we had nearly 50 people show up. It was pretty cozy there. If anyone has been to Stewart and John's, it's a great meeting space. There's a lot of room for people, but I was dangerously close to having to turn people away just because it was gonna get pretty crowded. But we had a number of people from the university specialists, some specialists from outside the region, coming in to give presentations on animal nutrition, on soil health, on crop production, is very well received. Last week, we had our equipment demonstration field day with the County Conservation District. That's where we showcase equipment that the Conservation District has available to area farms that can help them just do a better job with implementing soil conservation practices on there. And despite the fact, ironically, today was the snow day that we had identified. And it didn't snow last week, but gosh, it was pretty close in terms of weather. So I almost wish it had, because if, I would have been outside today rather than huddling under the seed drill to get out of the wind last week. But despite that, we had nearly 24 people show up with that. It's always been a popular program. It's, so that's a quick rundown in some of the stuff that we've been up to. Any questions?
Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Carl.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. And if you wanted to stop by after, it's gonna be in the office
Okay.
Until like early afternoon or something.
All right,
like
thank
that.
you.
So, all right, we'll talk more.
Hi, Carl.
All right, bye.
Moving on to master agenda item number 1262, presentation of bids, website redevelopment. Davis is here to speak to it, and expected to discuss and decide on a vendor to work with for redevelopment of Cheshire County's website. This is something that we've been working on for a period of time. It seems like every 4 years or so, we have to take a look at it, and this is one of those times. And Davis has been diving in deep to this and really trying to figure out what is the best scenario for us. So why don't you shoot?
And we have had to examine this a few times before I arrived. And the last time we moved to Paragon was some patchwork because we moved from a vendor in Manchester, but didn't fully integrate into Paragon. So they were a partial update to our website, not a full rebranded update, which we will be doing if we decide on a bid today. So I have project proposals for each of you, but I think the best portion here will be looking at their examples. And we received about 10 bids, and I didn't bring about 7 of them forward due to a multitude of reasons. I have those reasonings if you want to look at them, but mostly due to cost and their timelines as well as some just look like our website right now. So that's not what we were going for, and they didn't show the innovation that we wanted to see. Yeah, thank you.
So while you're handing these out,
Yeah.
things that I do not know
Thank you.
about websites. One of them is who actually keeps it fresh? Once you get it up and running, is it static, or is there somebody assigned to like keep it fresh or add new information or stuff like that? And is that the vendor or is that somebody in-house?
So that has typically been, it's a little bit of both. So for creating new pages entirely, I don't mean to disparage anyone, but theoretically it should have been Paragon, but they were a bit difficult to work with,
Yeah.
so I made the pages myself. So I've done just about everything to update the website for the past year or so. But I imagine that a lot of these businesses would do a little bit more work, especially when it comes to bigger changes.
Yeah.
Well, the
So-
sort of thing, I think the biggest ask I would have of
Yeah.
any one of these is that, that they put together an easy-to-use portal where, staff can just sit down on a daily basis, make changes to the calendar, make changes to announcements, make changes to employment, or what have you. These day-to-day kind of things,
Yep.
rather than having to go call up Paragon every time you wanted to do
Exactly.
something. Have something easy on the fly, and then if you need, other structural kind of things, then go back.
Yes.
Otherwise, Because the importance of a website is that it is user-friendly, that it has fresh information, that it's just not this billboard.
Exactly.
You know, it needs to
Exactly.
offer something every single day.
And that was the central want in the RFP. First, modernize the look entirely and bring us to the 21st century, but also make it really easy to update, so it's not a long task that departments that, no one has a website manager in the county specifically,
need
so.
one.
Exactly, that, and so like a deputy in the sheriff's office will just update something once in a while, but you know, currently it takes time and they end up having to come to me because it's too difficult to navigate themselves, which is totally reasonable because it is too difficult to navigate. Right now we have about 8 people that have access to managing the websites, their individual pages, and about 4 of them can handle the updates that they want to put in, but the other 4 come to me to do it because it's really not easy to use at all. So that was, ease of use was a huge, in bold, large font in our RFP, and I think we will see that from all 3 of these companies, but I can get into a little bit
So
about
what
each
was
of
your
them.
criteria? You personally versus the broader county, you personally, what was your criteria when you were looking at putting out the RFP, what information you wanted back, and then, evaluating the responses? Because your knowledge and your use is gonna be different than ours. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
so clearly, this is, a higher level sort of knowing than we have. So what is it that you need this to do versus what we need it to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, although I was trained by my predecessor a bit, there was just so much on this website that I did have to build the plane and fly it at the same time. So I was able to see a lot of the issues with this website over time, and a big part of it is a lack of integration between a lot of links. We'll find that I've changed something to try to add like the 20-25 minutes, and many websites will be able to change that link. It'll be a permanent link that changes on your website everywhere. This place, you have to go through manually to find where it is everywhere. Cheryl just found one like last month that was wrong still, because I didn't even know it existed.
It existed, right.
It was hidden on the bottom of the page and it just was to the 20-24 minutes or something like that. So that kind of integration is something that we should expect from websites. And even, have you heard of Squarespace?
Yes.
So that's not for us, because that's too simple. It's for small businesses, maybe some campaigns for office and whatnot. But even that has the ability to create a permanent link that changes everywhere on the site, which makes it easier for people like me and people like individual departments that just need to add something new or make a simple change to the name of the site. On top of that, the huge problem is integrating various forms of files onto the website. It didn't like PDFs, which it should, because that's the most static form of documentation, besides I think JPEGs might be as well. But you weren't able to integrate many file forms at all, and pictures were hellish to put on the website, and would often take 30 to 45 minutes of troubleshooting just to get them to stay in one place and not move everything across the site, shift everything down, completely break the website. I didn't do anything that I would say was my fault here, but I did create a page for county conversations, and it shut down the entire website for a few hours by just creating a page, because it shifted everything somewhere else. So Paragon had to step in and help out with that, but there was no reason for that to happen.
So once you decide which one is gonna be best, what is their time frame, and what is the time frame of them building it and then getting it lifted up to where it is seen?
Yeah, great question. So there's 3 different timelines for all of them, and there's 3 very different costs as well. So let me just make sure I have this one correct here. communicators group. Because he sent me an updated one just yesterday.
And backing out in terms of cost, I know that, penny wise and pound foolish can get us into trouble. The one that's going to grow with us as we grow,
Not a one and done.
yeah, because that's the whole thing around, we're gonna buy, the special, and it's never gonna grow again, so we have to make a major reinvestment. So do all of these that you're thinking about, are they growable? Will they be able to expand as we go along? And are the companies that you're gonna work with, are they gonna be around?
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah, no, long term.
whatever you pick, 10 years from now is still gonna be able to provide the support. I mean, anybody can get hit by a bus,
Yes.
But, companies like that, because the county will every year expand on something.
Yeah, fantastic question. So I think that all three of these are far more suited than our current vendor to be able to move forward and update things to a more modern and fashionable, better, increased departments as well over time. And I do think all of them are very well cemented in their communities and have business structures that lend to, if someone gets hit by a bus, it'll keep going. So I do see longevity in all of these companies, and we will have monthly costs like we do with Paragon, and quarterly costs actually. And some of them include specific calls just to check in to see what we want to update and what kind of things we could do to make the website better.
And web hosting too.
Yes, yep, web hosting is held by all of these. They may be slightly off-site technically, but it is done by them, so we don't have to have anything in-house. There's no hardware that we need, thankfully.
What I mean though is that the hosting is controlled by the vendor
Yes,
rather than being farmed out among. I don't know about this one here. What's the name of this?
Planetaria.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've never heard of them.
And
I actually worked a lot with Communicator Group.
yes, yeah. And I'll show you
As a
examples.
matter of fact, they helped me when I built the first Maplewood site.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because, Jeff is a great guy, and that is unfortunately the only local company we got, but great that we got one that was viable at least. Planetaria is based out of California, and they did Southwest Regional Planning Commission's website. And there was no issue. I talked to the executive director of Southwest Regional Planning, and he said there was no issue with the time difference, because that was one of my main concerns. Will we have someone available to help us even with the 3-hour time difference over there? And they are 24 hours actually, so that's one thing that they have going for them. And then Jeff is right down the road.
They still have a problem with getting minutes and stuff like that up on a timely basis, but.
Yeah.
Do
Sure.
we
You
have a
think?
commitment to keeping dollars local?
I mean,
Do we think it's important? Yeah, we always look at that, but that at some points too, it's gotta work within the numbers that we have too.
Sure, but I'm just saying, if we're raising money here, it's good to keep local businesses floating, that's
Yeah.
all.
and I
mean,
guess it would
Not
really
to the
depend on the.
exclusion of a better choice, but is that something that we take into consideration when we're thinking about this?
Yeah, very much so, and I think I will read these costs to you right now because they are quite different and the timelines are quite different as
And
well.
I reached out to Jeff because I know him well, and I said, apply. And initially they weren't going to because they were just busy,
He's communicators?
and he's communicators. And then they, at the last minute, they said, no, we're gonna do it. You talked to Davis a few times, and then they
What was
submitted.
their reluctance?
They're just busy. And
And
right now, they're just like, he just was wanting to make sure they balance it so they meet the needs of what's
Right.
required. But
We appreciate
the only
that.
reason I really pushed him on is because I had 2 people come to me and say, we're hearing this, you should talk to Jeff because they know what they're doing.
Sorry in advance to Jeff here, but he did read the RFP wrong and thought that the Q&A was the due date for the whole thing.
Oh,
But it was
okay.
actually that was a month before the actual
That's
due
the
date, so
busy.
he had more time to
Yeah.
actually complete it.
That was
So,
the busy.
yeah, so they are available
Okay,
to do this project.
Yeah.
awesome.
So the costs are wildly different here. Two are similar, but starting with Snowberry, and I didn't mention, but they're based out of Pennsylvania, so also not local. But their total cost to get us up and running is $12,700. And that'll include some yearly costs as well. They project that they would be done in 14 to 16 weeks, which is faster than the others by a bit. Planetaria would be $24,000, 440, and they were 4 to 6 months. The Communicators Group, almost exactly the same, $24,500 with you'll see that there's a $33,000 option there. That adds a bunch of AI to our website and a few other new fangled ideas that we would not even try to attempt to add in the first year at least. It's something we could look at down the road, but it's nothing we'd want to handle right now.
In their timeframe?
And they are also 4 to 6 months. So Planetaria and Communicators Group, very similar in their time frame, and then Snowberry is about half the price with a 2-month quicker time frame.
Okay, so all three of them on the WordPress platform?
They are actually, but they have their new integrations, thankfully, because their WordPress is outdated, which is why many of the issues occur, especially with the images placed on the website, and that's primarily due to WordPress. But thankfully, these are versions of WordPress I've done research on that are all acceptable and will run far better than the current version that we have. So I was looking to have us move away from WordPress theoretically, but it wasn't WordPress as an issue, it was that specific version of WordPress. So I was able to confirm that.
So, okay, so then you have this total cost, what are the monthly maintenance fees for each of these?
Yep, so Planetaria, yearly cost of $1,800, Snowberry, $500, and then Communicators Group, oh, he sent me the, gotta check theirs again. $79 per month.
So everybody else is done by year, except Communicators is per month,
Yes,
all right?
correct.
What does this get us? What does this get you in terms of support?
Yep.
For this kind of fee?
So all three of them are very similar. It's a complete, or do you mean the monthly costs or the whole thing?
No, the monthly maintenance fee, what is that, what support does that get you, since it's all about you at this point?
Yeah, so-
What are we getting, what are we buying for you, and is it helpful, is it gonna be
Yeah.
enough?
So some of the cost is just the subscription essentially to
Yeah.
keep the website up and hold our domain,
Yeah.
whatnot. And then the other costs, which are variable, these might be far less because they're integrated projected monthly cost by hour for each staff member that they will utilize to help us. So it depends on how much work I need them to support us on.
Yeah.
Ideally, it won't be much because, again, I did
Right,
ask
you
that
know
they-
a lot.
Yeah, and I did ask that they give us access to basically completely manage the website by
Is
ourselves.
that initial training for the department heads?
There is. Yep,
Okay, because,
department heads and all elected officials too, actually.
I don't want any system that's gonna throw everything to you.
Yeah.
Right,
I want the EOC to be able to sit down, type in their numbers.
Yeah,
and what
whatever.
is the cost for that kind of training that he's talking about?
included.
That's-
So this is included, getting it up and running, building it, doing all the pictures, and training everybody. So that initial 24/4 from California Place, that gets everybody up and running.
Everything.
And all of them, including this one that's half price, their training is included in
It
there?
is. Yep, it is. And I checked with all of them as well.
And who's used Snowberry before that you know and trust?
No one local, unfortunately. I did
But
speak
these
with,
two have been local in terms of people's knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And so, for me, that rules out Snowberry.
Yeah, I'd
Well, I
like to
don't
at
think we're
least,
there yet to start ruling out people. I
Well,
still got
that's a ding
ton of
against them at
questions.
least.
that's a ding against them.
You know.
Reasonable. I did
Because
speak with them.
I really believe that, you know, having a known vendor is important, because we're making a major investment and we don't have anybody to ask other than these people, how are they? And we have to take their word for how they are.
Yeah, and you did reach out to some people just because
did.
we wanted to make sure
I talked
we know the
to
others.
two references at least for each of them. I'd like to show you. Go ahead.
Before we get the cart ahead of the horse here,
Yeah.
what is the template that you sent them that these are based on? I mean, what's the site gonna look, I mean, what are the functions of the site?
Oh, yeah.
That you've asked for?
So a lot of the,
Because, you know, we may wanna modify that as we discuss things here, so.
yes,
we
and that
do
can be modified during the process. A lot
Yeah,
of
but
it.
that would change all of the parameters, that, you know, of their,
Well, the design process is part of this cost here, and I did give parameters, like we need specific things for
okay, let's
certain.
start with the basic, our site now,
Yeah,
all right? What have you asked them to change or modify or enhance or what have you?
yeah, so I did ask them to integrate, for example, the EMS GIS mapping, which shows response data actively. That's something that I spoke about with Mark and Chad in the past as well.
And that's on a different platform.
Yes, but integrating it into a image which holds, now this is slightly beyond my pay grade.
They'd just be able to create a page that would call it up, though, right?
Basically,
Yeah.
yes, but integrate it directly onto the page so there isn't that major stutter that you get from clicking onto it and then jumping to a different site, and then it takes about like 2 minutes to load. So that was just one thing I wanted to mention. The other functions, I went through site by site to make sure that, or each department, to make sure that we would have the integrations we need. One thing that I spoke to Assistant Finance Director Misty Hall about was the employee applications. With the transition to UKG, there is a system already in place for employees to apply and for HR to review their applications. So that was actually one thing that we are able to scale back a bit on our website.
Because we really don't have a forms function.
We do actually,
Really?
and they are a absolute unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, well, that's why it isn't
With
recognizable
the
as a form.
sheriff, with the sheriff's department, we have tried to fix this a dozen times,
Yeah.
specifically with their application for no known reason. Folks weren't able to submit most of their information on there, and they weren't able to add their resume. So then Deputy Dodson downstairs would have to reach out to them individually and ask them to basically apply for the job that they just applied to again over email, and just, it was a total mess. And then it happened with the other employee application we had for all other departments besides the DOC and the sheriff. And Kim was having major issues with that as well. So that's something that we won't have to deal with at all with this new vendor, because it's already paid for through UKG. So there's no reason to have two different sites that do the same thing. And from what I've heard and from what Misty told me, that is a very good system. So I left that out. I did say we need some new functionality, such as banners that scroll, what do you call that? What's that term? On the news at the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
Scroll.
Yeah.
Banner?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say banner.
We're all
Well,
saying
it's
banner.
CHYRON. That's what those are. Yeah, I guess so. I did ask for those, so it will display, like you can view multiple things at once without it taking up so much space. So you can scroll through things on the website, which would be able to show us multiple meeting times over time, and a banner if there's some sort of major announcement or some emergency updates that circle through, so people don't have to go searching and hunting for things. I did ask for increased interoperability between department sites. because there's major connections between restorative justice and DOD, so links that Department of Corrections, I have federal grants on my mind, and other things like that. But a lot of it will come down to us meeting with them and talking about what we want. So this was a lot of the design. 95% of the design is discussed with them, and they're just able to work with us on what we want. Because we're not asking for anything that is so extraordinary that it needs to be a fixed cost, as these are all things that they will be able to do as I talk with them over the next several months.
So each department will have their own portal.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just like it is now, and then easier integration for sub-department groupings, as it should be easier to go view the staff of a certain department. It should be easier to jump into the portal for the Department of Corrections, for instance, where you can view the inmate registry, or Maplewood to schedule a tour or something like that. So everything will be much easier to access and will be more so in-house on this website. We're not going to be using links to Google Forms anymore, or Calendly, if you guys have heard of that, to schedule meetings. So there will be more functionality on the website to do a lot more. And we can talk about all these and explore options that you want over time. Thankfully, that portion, thankfully or not thankfully, that portion isn't even close to done. So a lot of this discussion will be forthcoming. But
Okay, so, I guess the price of the Snowberry is a little suspect being so low.
yeah, and I did.
And so fast.
Yeah, and I did say that we were
Well-
looking for a goal of around 15 grand, but that turned out to not be that possible for many of them. This was the only one. This was the only one under 15 out of all of them.
Well, that may be why you,
You did that because you're hoping to save some of the budget money? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, I was hoping to
Yeah,
keep it as low as I could to start, but basically
Well, I
what
think
the
by
market
doing
told me
that,
is.
He kept it low anyway. I mean, when we last did this, the monies that when they were coming back, it was 75,000, 55,000, whatever. So I think it was a smart move on your part, because I think it helped stunt the,
Oh, yeah, because you could have ended up getting, if you said 25, you could have ended up getting 35.
Yeah.
So
I did get one that was 65
do
for the
you,
record.
how
They're
many
not here today.
customers do each of these companies have? I mean, because like after being a general contractor on my house and dealing with various subcontractors.
Yeah.
The person who was the available the soonest was the person who wasn't employed.
Yeah,
And
Fair
there's a reason for that.
yeah.
So I wanna know, for this company, how big are they, you know? What are their large clients? Why are they so available?
well, and the
I
other
mean,
thing is.
you know, maybe
it-
they have a window, I don't know, but I'm
My
just
only
kinda curious.
When I was hearing about this, it was like, I don't want cookie cutter either. And a lot of times, if you can do it in a very short period of time, they've got a
They have a
recipe,
template, spam.
you know, and it's boom, done. And it's,
Right.
I want a little, I mean, for me, he can go into the wonky side. For me, I wanna be able to go on it and find what I'm looking for. And I want it to be user-friendly. I want it to be
Right, it's
easy.
gotta
I
be
want it to be
easy.
something that actually people want to go to.
Right, I hate going there right now.
Yeah.
That thing is just like.
But 4 or 5 years,
horrible.
6 years ago, people were like, "Wow, man, we love your website," and that's how fast things change. But
Right.
now I want it to be even more friendly.
And I don't wanna have to invest a lot of money in creating upgrades that keep it easy.
Yeah.
You know, once we build this, you know, this thing we have now, A, we invested money and it only lasted 5 years. And B, it didn't support us the way it needed to. And C, it can't grow with us.
And we did, for the record, we did speak with them and ask them to grow with us. That was our initial discussion, saying, can we move forward? Can we bring this to the 21st century?
Right, so
They
those
basically
are
said no.
issues for me
Yeah.
about having to reinvest major amounts of money in order to stay relevant. Because pouring money into something that remains unsuccessful isn't what I wanna do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do see capabilities from all of them of keeping us up to date over the years. These are all very well-established companies, they're not going anywhere, and this is what they do.
Yeah.
More than anything else, it's just websites, which is helpful. And their teams are medium-sized, actually, none of these are massive, but they've already assigned a staff that we're gonna work with. They've all been ridiculously responsive, actually. And that, yes, that might be weighted in terms of them wanting to get business, but I've talked to different members of each team, which has been great. So I've been able to see who we're working with, and I think specifically communicators group. I think they put it on here, thankfully, where there's a team of about 6 of them. Yep, on page 9, you can see who we will be working with. And you can see that some of these names double up, like Hope, for instance, but we will not be their only project, but I guess that's just like any other job where I know I don't have one project per day, or Chris or Cheryl here. But we will have a dedicated team of people, which I will schedule time with to meet with them multiple times a week for multiple hours over Zoom, maybe in person, depending on who we choose, to talk about what we want to see, and moving forward. I hope to establish a strong relationship with whoever we choose to stay up. I'm not leaving the county anytime soon, so I don't have to pass this on to anyone. I hope to. I'm not personally choosing to leave the county soon. I mean, I don't know if Chris has, what Chris was talking about with Kim this morning.
Chris is leaving and taking you with him, he can't live without you.
Yeah, we're moving to the Bahamas.
Exactly. So talk to me about the security of the website.
Yeah, so all of them seem very strong, and they meet all of the federal requirements, including ADA and WGA security. I spoke with Rob Hummel, and he has no concerns about the website at all, really, as long as they have a strong hosting and a good track record of working with other companies. So no real concern about security with any of them.
Okay, so the forms are directed to individual email addresses through the county, right? I mean, say if Kim was looking for a resume.
Yes, yep, so if someone fills out an employee application.
The forms on the website are directed to her email or appropriate email address
That's
through our
correct.
site.
Yes,
So
and I get
our
that as well.
security would be enforced there.
Yes, that's correct. So there'd be no connection to email unless we actually put it there ourselves, basically. Yeah, and with the integration.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that when you fill out a form, it doesn't reside with these people. It resides
Oh, the
only
information,
until
yes.
only until the email is formed, and then it is sent away. It's not stored here.
That is correct.
So there's no problem with people getting into the website to get people's personal information, that kind of thing.
That is correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's no specific, like, finance doesn't use the website for any major functions in terms of, like, there's no way there could be a Peterborough fraud situation through our website.
Thank you.
Kind of thing. Yeah, no, of
Okay.
course, it's a very valid question these days.
For a multitude of reasons too, because.
Yes.
Because she's smart enough.
Yes.
Well, they also have multiple steps too.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get stupid, I mean, well.
I know.
Yeah, there's emails that come out all the time
They
that,
do.
you know, suggest, oh, my direct deposit just got closed, can you change my bank account number? It's like, you have to know you can't
Right,
look-
click anything.
click anything.
I don't click stuff from my friends. I don't know if they're from my friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, I want to have a week to go through these two, to get a better idea what's
Yeah,
going on.
that's fine, I will update them and let them know.
Okay, Claudia, I think I agree with you. It's not for the same reasons, but the example that Snowberry gave me here, I click on events, there has been a critical error on this website.
Wait, which example are you on?
Harrisburg.
Interesting. Huh, that's bizarre.
And the site is pretty much just it's just a very basic poster, it's not.
Yeah, and if I can just show you a couple, one from each, that'd be fantastic. So this is Snowberry right here. They have integrated web video right here, which if that doesn't work, then that kind of gives us our answer. So.
I mean, we could have Skip do that. He's got the vest for the fly fishing.
So the nice thing about this one, did you see that pop in at least? There's some nice seamless integration between the homepage here, which makes it easy to navigate, and the sliding form.
That looks like a nice place to stay.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
it's,
And just good integrated links here.
Actually, I'll go visit it.
Yeah, quite pretty, yeah. But this is pretty simple, I will say.
it also isn't asking you to do anything, you know, like fill out things, or it's asking you to read. Is there anything that it requires for you to fill in anything?
Let's see.
Yeah, because like at Maplewood, they're gonna want their application incorporated.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, our
And then
website has to
probably
be more functional, more interactive than.
The
yeah,
pictures.
Yes.
I mean, I like the pictures, but we need,
Yeah, it's,
HR.
ours is not a tourist destination.
right,
You know, it's a
And even though
working,
Chronos or UKG can, we're gonna probably still want people from the outside to be able to go on and fill out applications.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so that is basically it. It's very simple, but I will bring you over to, let's see which one should we do next. We'll jump over to Planetaria. So they did Southwest Regional Planning Commission's website. And they are still actively working on some updates, is what Todd told me, but this is pretty much
let's go
complete
down to
at this
their
point.
events. What do their events have to say?
So if you click on them, gives you all that information right here on the homepage.
Nice.
Thankfully, click here for directions. I'm
Simple.
guessing it just goes to Google
Simple.
Maps. Yeah, it goes to Google Maps, but that is pretty standard. There's no
Yeah.
other.
yeah, but
Great way
that's
to
the
do it.
kind of thing, that's the kind of thing where there's a console, somebody here just goes in every morning and
Puts the
changes.
information in, you
Right,
don't need to
right.
have a master's degree in anything to just update yourself.
No, you don't want me doing it.
And here you can keep
So
scaling
if you
it.
hit on those, would it do the same thing, pop down?
Yep. I just asked it to do something else, so give me a second.
Okay.
Nice.
Linking agendas
Oh, wow,
here,
that's
which is
awesome.
great because
Yeah.
this is not something I can do. I can't just have a file anywhere I want on the website. It has to be in very specific locations or embedded in a Word, but it can't be in drop-down menus,
Nice.
which is unfortunate. So yeah, and you can have a lot open at once without there being any stutters or anything like that. I hope Todd has updated this, maybe. Wonderful. So, you can go up pretty far too.
Mhm.
And he said there was an easy way to recreate events, so just putting the commissioners' meetings up there for every Wednesday throughout the year is something we've had an issue with on our website, of events disappearing, locations not showing up, or anything like that, and that's happened a couple times.
So what you're saying is you could have that and they could go over and hit the agenda right there and see what it is instead of, or hitting that, then trying to find the commissioner's thing, where that is, and then
Exactly.
getting the agenda that way.
Exactly.
See, that's simple to me.
And here,
As long as they can, and the only other thing I would want, and I told you this, is,
Yep.
I hate, and City of Keene, this is problematic for me with the City of Keene, is it's hard to find phone numbers
Yeah.
or emails.
Yeah.
I want us
Contacts,
to be,
yeah.
I want us to be available, and
absolutely.
then I don't want people to have to try to,
They keep,
Whatever.
they keep that off of their, what's her name, Rebecca, deathly afraid of putting actual email addresses on the website.
it's the cities, it's not like you're personal,
Yeah, well,
It's
that's
like-
the reason they don't do that, you know,
it's done.
yeah, and then,
They don't want anybody to
And I
reach
said it,
out.
and it's recorded, it's done. It's like, we should have people should be able to reach out to us
Go
when
to
they
the
need to.
contact us and see what they say.
Yeah.
How that actually works. See, there's
So
how you
direct
get
info.
people.
And then something we could do is contact us and it creates I don't personally like these
Well,
because,
go to staff directory. And then hit one of them just to see what they get.
it's just mostly their information, but,
But that's what I'm looking for.
no, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because the
I'm
forms
not
that I was
talking
talking
about
about.
that nobody has to see my face.
Yeah, I know. I
do you say?
don't wanna be
Oh,
up
we
there.
can talk about
okay,
that.
I do not wanna be up there.
We can talk about that in the design phase. But some of them, when you click on a contact us, it'll go to an email form with the email already filled out. But you have to choose a type of email to have it do, like Outlook or Gmail. Or not everyone has access to that, so then they have to
Right.
sign into an account or create an
Yeah.
account. It's unnecessary.
hate that.
Having this kind of contact information, I wanna speak to this. Okay, that was a bad example.
It's nice.
There we go, I wanna speak to her. There we go.
That's all I want. I want to be able to, yeah.
And we could be here all day because it's a really, really nice, really full website, but this is what our news site would look like, whereas right now it's just a link with some couple of words, doesn't show you anything about it. So this is simple, but you can't
Okay.
go out for a long time here.
These things, they self-archive? So that you don't have
Yes.
something from last year that's still up there?
Well, I don't know if they self-archive, but there's definitely the opportunity to archive. So for here, look, this does go all the way back to 2023. But I think that's probably because Todd chose for it to do that. 2022, because they haven't had this website for that long. So I think they chose to integrate all this information there to have this kind of backlog in a way,
Yeah,
just
well,
so
what I'd
to
be
have that
looking for-
history.
What I'd be looking for is for, a set of, like a quarter, right? And then if you wanna see archives, you hit archives and then go back and,
Yeah, that is very doable, I'm certain.
because otherwise you just clutter everything. And
Yeah.
That's the bane of any website, is clutter.
Yeah, that's something we've worked on recently. We've had too many, we've had active job descriptions for positions we're still hiring for, but it said it was last posted in 2020 for RNs. And it's
Yeah.
like, we need to update that so it doesn't look like this is a
Yeah,
5-year-old
well,
job
Well,
description.
it should time out.
Yeah.
It should time out so that we take away that, the inattentiveness of a staff member or whatever.
Yeah.
Take away that probability,
I agree.
Chipmunk holes, it's awesome.
Chipmunk holes.
Let's see, this is a nice.
Yeah, hone in on
feature.
that.
Kind of like Caddyshack.
So this is something we probably have for, this could be what we have for EMS someday if it gets integrated to this form. This might be a little far out in the future, but they have integrative maps like this, which could be helpful for a multitude of reasons. At least just a map pinpointing, here's 12 Court Street, here's the jail, I think, here's Maplewood over here.
Well, a heat
So-
map of, that is always interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing I would want is I'd want to have every town linked into this so that if, and maybe it's shown with a map and you hit the map and the town link comes up or something.
And we
like that.
have that technically, but it's hidden and you'd never know where you
Yeah.
can find it.
Right.
Ever.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And we can definitely have that. So,
Problem
this-
with that now is, you need to make it so that we can make changes on the fly because of, towns changing their website.
yeah, Westmoreland
Whatever.
changing to .gov just
Yeah,
a couple
without-
weeks ago. I didn't
They won't think that.
bring up .gov.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but we can also, that can be a tickler that just once a year we send something out saying, is everything the same in your town? Is there any updates
So
Well, I like this, so let's look at,
let's look at the last one here. And so that was Planetaria, and this right here is Communicators Group. And I've spoken to Julie about their website, and they've done a great job. So let's just do this for instance, register now. It's probably built directly in, I haven't taken a look.
Anybody want to register for the golf?
Yeah, I can sign you up right now. Let's see, this is perfect. You can register all your information here, sponsor or register.
Swag from somebody. Weren't we supposed to get swag from somebody?
Swag?
Conversation.
Oh, was it Mark?
I think it was Mark.
From the
Yes.
job fair.
That's right.
Yeah, you're owed swag. I'll give you that.
I know, it's swag.
Set a reminder here, that could be a very helpful feature.
No,
Do
actually, it's
contact
not.
us.
Actually, I don't know if it's Mark, though. I think it's Kim.
Oh, could be.
Could be.
So this isn't a bad way of doing it. This probably helps the collaborative manage with, they don't have a ton of staff. So for them, you do have to fill this out, get back to them, but there's probably a phone number, yep. Phone number there, no phone number there, because they don't always have someone stationed there, yeah. But this could be a way of having citizens who don't want to talk to someone give us the top line information that they want to verbally disagree with. But we don't get that much contact from them regardless. So these pages, and I'm blaming our Wi-Fi for this because all of the websites have been slow today, but I know they're much faster than this. So this is just one section. You'll see that a lot of it's changed up here though, because it's a different piece of it, which I don't know if we'll have that many that look this different. But each department would have their own smaller version of this. And look at that pop-up. I don't know if we'd have something like that, but it's a good feature. And it's a very...
Maybe on HR, it could be apply for
Yeah.
employment, just kind of.
Yeah, and maybe like here are the top
Yeah,
jobs right now.
basically,
Yeah.
hiring
if
for.
anybody is on the site, you need to give them an opportunity to apply now.
Yeah.
And I just will say, this is very advanced, especially for a local company here.
Well, they were probably, I'm not sure how many people are still involved, but Communicators Group was the first,
It's Badger.
when Monadnet started back in 1992, 93, something like that. They were involved in that, the players were involved in that, and they've been doing websites ever since.
Okay.
They were one of the first.
I'm not sure if anyone saw that, but there was a pop-up at the bottom too. So much interactiveness, you can click on that, which will just bring you to the other page. This nice scrollable feature here. And also maybe, this is something that I'd like to see, is this going automatically, scrolling through all the pictures, which is something I'm certain they can do. There's just so many active links and everything's really uniform. Close and personal, meet some local folks. Anything else you want to see on this site? Trying to see if there's something that's more.
Their examples are in
Look
here.
at their event.
Yes.
What's at the event?
Oh yeah, great idea. So this is also very nice, like the other one. And the thing is, this is sharing a lot of local events, so it's just gonna go to their own website
Yeah.
from here, but at least you can see that it's a nice structure for our looks. You can know about what it is, have a link to sign up. Trying to see if there's an event put on by them that's around here. Oh, actually, I guess you saw the golf tournament. That is an example of an in-house event that they're having. And that had really good functionality.
Is there anything else you want to see on this?
Well, I'll be looking for more than just that, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of options on all of them. All of them have at least 4 or 5 different websites in here that you can visit.
We have to treat this like an employment application. We want
Well,
to get
it
this
is.
right the first
That's
time.
right. Well, these are the two I like. I do like the California one. And I do like the Communicators, so
So
I think
my
that.
thing would be, I don't know if we're on a timeline or not, but if you need more time, if you wanna take the next week, think about it, investigate it a little bit more on your own. I don't feel the pressure to make that decision. There is some costs that you haven't really hit on yet, right? I mean, they're in here, but, right?
I don't think
But they're, or did I miss it?
Well, maybe you just didn't outwardly say what the cost of each were,
Yeah,
or,
oh, at the beginning, like the total amount?
yeah.
yeah, like
What
one's
is it gonna cost?
12,004,
Right.
one's
Oh, yeah.
24.
Right, he
They're
started
already-
with that, he
Okay,
started with that and the
sorry.
timeframes
Alright,
on that.
Sorry.
So, and then I went through and looked at the subscription costs and the hourly costs for the
Right.
support.
alright.
So, there was one here that, had a lot more, ongoing support at no cost for the first year.
Yes.
So I think that, is important because the first year is where everybody's going to get their sea legs. And
Yes.
to have to be charged for every time somebody forgot how to do something could be expensive.
And
And to have that in there, and that was on communicators, that, following the launch of the live site, they will provide a 12-month startup technical and content management troubleshooting period for the website at no additional costs.
Yep.
So I think that in itself is a great, money saver.
good hook, yeah.
Well, whenever, okay, you're gonna have, how many department heads do we have?
Well, it can kind of break down, but there's altogether about 14.
14,
Mhm.
already, okay. Well, so if there's gonna be any questions, if anybody that have any questions, then that'll go through probably you, Davis.
I am.
And then,
Yes.
and then before we contact, help, we go through our resource of the 14 people who've been trained.
Yep.
To see if we got the answer there
Oh, is
first.
this the swag?
Oh, this- I didn't ask for swag.
Thank you.
This
I
was-
did, I wanted swag.
But yeah, one of the first meetings that will occur is definitely between me and them, but the next meeting after that will be with all the department heads and the host we choose, or vendor we choose.
Well, this is great. I'm really hopeful now that I see something in black and
Yeah,
white.
yeah, I think we have good options here. There are other good options too, but just not what we.
Yeah,
Yeah. The fact that it's there, something like turn it
so
in.
isn't there any other, like Wix and, these people, the professionals out there are using
It's good for your
WordPress?
glove
Yeah, because
box.
they're able to
Yeah, no.
really
Or sometimes
mold
even-
WordPress to what they
Well, I
want.
trust their judgment because they're in business, right?
Exactly, and I mean, these websites are made with WordPress,
Oh, I
right?
don't know if
Uh,
it's some, yeah.
The other ones, some of them are very template based, so
Thank
they'll give you a
you.
municipality, and then all the municipalities that they have look very similar.
Yeah,
Do you want me to talk about?
So I was
That's
surprised
what I used to
actually.
do.
Yeah, no, and that's totally reasonable.
I just changed logos.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's totally reasonable. Don't fix what isn't broken, but
Yeah.
we're a little broken, so.
I think these are good. I do like
Glad to hear
the
it.
12 months of support.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's an hourly charge after we get up and running for all these people who are still new to technology, like Chris will need a lot of
Yeah.
support.
And they don't charge quite like lawyers, but it's close to that.
It is.
Well, it's $135, $145 an hour.
Exactly.
This is $145
What I like
an
about-
hour.
Because they put them
The
in.
local option always has that convenience where you can go stand on somebody's desk if you need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to think about. So I have no problem telling them, I wouldn't want to push it back further than next week.
No, I won't need any longer than that, but.
Great.
I just don't wanna force a decision. I wanna make sure this is actually, this is like the front desk person. When you're hiring somebody at the front desk, this is the first impression they get of the county.
Right.
And I'm telling you, more and more people are checking our websites for a multitude of reasons. And one of them is because they wanna move here, they wanna see what's in Cheshire County.
Well, other than that, just the usability by staff.
Yeah,
I mean, that, the people outside, great, but if staff are able to use this the way it's supposed to be used, it'll free up a lot of brain space.
And
Yeah.
this wouldn't be something that could be done now. This would be something down the line, but it is possible that there is a portion of the website that is just for staff members where we
Well,
could
I was
post
gonna-
events and whatnot.
That would be actually nice.
Right.
Yeah,
The back room, where, you need to type in a password to do that.
exactly. Yep.
It have all of our, because we probably have that anyway, right? For financial data and
Well,
things?
somewhat, so it's like we have this
Different levels of-
platform of Employee Navigator for employees that they have to get told to go to this particular site for new applications and for just annual renewal. It would be nice to have a private logon for employees to go in so that they just have to go to the county website versus all these separate websites.
But I mean,
to
each
enroll in it.
department had, they go into a portal for their budget, right? So that, doesn't that all just get collected to you?
Well, that's actually a lot different because it's really a manual process. We email them a link to where our files are saved on our J drive, so I don't.
Anyway, secure pages aren't really hard to create.
No,
You
and
know,
so it just, since it wasn't initially in the RFP, I would just have to bring it up with them and see if this is
Well,
something we could do. 'Cause, as you can see up here, member login.
Yeah.
And we were talking at the
Right.
Cheshire County Employees Association meeting that we want a countywide email to send out to everyone, but since we do have a bit of turnover and the bigger departments so often, we can't keep up with all the emails, and IT would have to handle that, or Kim would have to handle that, and that's just a lot of work to be
So when
updating
somebody
emails.
leaves, who deletes their email? I mean,
IT. Every
When
time.
somebody's terminated, there's like a group of people that get the termination notice that then know what they need to do based on what they're responsible for.
So this would be something we could look towards though, for posting the county potlucks that we do, or posting events, posting
What
info
we're
about
trying to do
budgets.
to raise some money for the association.
Exactly, so
And,
it'd be a nice
I mean,
feature.
even auxiliary would be nice, because I mean,
So true, yeah.
it's another association, that nonprofit that raises money for the nursing home.
Yeah, Misty doing the, what was it called, the drive
Thing for
for?
the residents.
Yeah, exactly, another thing, so actually, this is something I would plan on bringing up early on in the design phase and see if they have an issue
so
with
what
it.
budget is this coming from?
There is a $25,000 budget for this particular website design. So.
So we're within budget,
Yeah,
Of course.
Yep.
Would never think of doing it otherwise.
of course.
No.
I don't know who you've been talking to.
I did aim for 15, because that was done for 15.
How long ago?
2 years, so,
Well, then maybe you can get them to squeeze a little bit of money out of this bid.
well, we do have a lot more than them too, but I wanted to see if that was something that worked. I did say we would accept submissions over 15, so that's just something I wanted
Yeah.
to see how it goes.
So then you go back and say, can you do it for 22?
Yeah, no, hey, it's negotiable until we sign.
Exactly, until you sign it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
But, yeah, so next week, I'll put it on the agenda again for us to actually to vote on.
Yeah.
And if you have questions about them, let me know. They all have their own websites to visit as well.
Yeah.
What I'll do is, as I go through this, I'll email you any questions
Please.
I may have, so that
Yep.
it'll give you a heads up, so that you have time to get the answers, so that when we get to the meeting,
Exactly.
we won't be flying by the seat of our pants.
Yep, that sounds perfect. So please reach out. Happy to answer anything you got.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all your questions. Doug's.
All right, back to the agenda.
All right, my report, I'll start with the training that we did last week. As you know, we had been working with Primex on a leadership training, and we were able to have that occur last week. It was at the showroom behind the Colonial Theater. We had hoped to have 80 people attend. We had 117, 17, I think 17.
117.
Saw the place full.
Yeah, 117. I applaud Kim and her work that she really put together with Andy Bohannon from the city. So we had, I'm guessing, about 60 employees from Cheshire County, and we had, the city of Keene had some people. there, and towns had representatives there, and the SAU 29 had people there, and there were some others, stragglers here and there. They had breakfast, a light breakfast opportunity in the morning, and then lunch on the way out. And in between, they had 3 different speakers. Kim, you want to talk to the speakers real quickly? Just hitting on the areas of topic.
Sure. We had, so let me pull out my paper. Our first speaker was Nick Manolis, who contracts with Primex. And his presentation was on leadership and culture and how the two work together. And then our second presenter was Ross Gibson, who works with TRG, who is our broker. And his presentation was about working across a multi-generational workforce. We have anywhere between 4 and 5 generations in the workforce right now, and they all communicate differently and they're all motivated differently. So learning how to work across all of those needs. And then our final presenter was a Dr. Nicole Sawyer, and she presented on administrative betrayal, which was an interesting topic as well. In the surveys that we've seen so far, the bulk of the people that have responded were preferential to the first 2 speakers.
Yeah, I really liked Nick. He was, the way his mannerisms, he came off very stumbly and unassuming, but he used that, kind of a, not stuttering, but sort of repeating words, in a way that kept your attention and just drew you right in. It was a hell of a presenter.
So was it because of the presenters or the topics that they were presenting that people
I
sort of
think
leaned?
that the topic that Dr. Nicole presented on, although I do believe it's relevant information, it was a bit of a downer after the enthusiastic, I mean, I think if we had sandwiched her in between Nick and Ross, it might have, because then we've been up, down, up instead of up, boom. Now we're all kind of depressed.
Though she did get an F-bomb in there.
She did, yeah.
Well, I would have been proud of her.
Yeah, she told us right off the beginning that she had a trash mouth, and before her presentation was over, she did drop a couple. But overall, it was just a really good day. I've had many people reach out to me and thank me, and that they hope that we do more things moving forward, not necessarily to that extreme, but that they'd like to continue learning about leadership and culture and growing in their careers.
And there was about 16 people from the nursing home that attended. And so what I've been receiving over the last week are just comments from some of the people that attended from the nursing home about that it was just a great opportunity, and they listed why, and it was good to see.
Great.
And so for Primex, they've been trying to figure out how to really reach out to the population that they work with. And this is the best bang for the buck, going right into an area and getting people to come together and really, get to, have those moments. So I think that was they loved it. I think Laconia was between 60 and 80, maybe 60 and 70 people attended in Laconia. So, I mean, ours was, we get it weekly and then turn into almost a daily. Oh, we're at 80. Oh, we're at 85. We're at 90. We just kept on going. So
Kim, do you know what
impressed.
communities were represented in terms of people who came to attend?
Actually,
As in
yeah,
what?
we should.
What towns?
What towns? Did leadership from towns come?
Swansea, but that's the only, let me look at my list. Hold on 1 minute.
Yeah, some organizations at least, but not the many town managers, RSVP.
I thought we had one person from the town of Swansea that I know of.
What's it? Is it Elaine?
I'm looking, 1 moment. It was Megan Karras. We had Southwest New Hampshire Mutual Aid was there. A couple of the SAUs were represented. the Chesterfield School District, City of Keene,
Roster, here we go, yeah.
yeah. That's about it. Harrisville School
Harrisville.
District, yep. So Cheshire County, City of Keene, Harrisville School District, Town of Swansea, Nelson.
Town of
The
Swansea, like
person
you
that's
said.
listed as Town of Westmoreland is actually a Maplewood employee. And then we had somebody from 100 Nights was there. We had somebody there from the community kitchen. We had somebody there from Savings Bank of Walpole.
Yes,
He just opened it up to his leadership group.
Southwest Fire Mutual Aid. Another one from Mutual Aid. Yeah, it was, but we bombarded it. We sent out multiples on a regular basis, trying to just make sure people had this opportunity. And the thing is hopefully people will hear about it, and we'll as we visit towns, we'll tell them what we did, and that, we'll, hopefully next year, it will be something that we build upon. And what we want to do is try to, for at least our personnel, on a quarterly basis, offer up something that's that's going to strengthen and start to build our future. So I think that's what our goal was for this, and we'll continue to do it. And they have said they want to continue doing this on a yearly basis, so that's good.
I think it would be great if more people from town leadership actually participated in evolving their skill set.
Yeah, and they were invited directly.
I'm
too,
sure
which
they
is-
were.
No,
The problem with that is a lot of these towns don't have a lot of people in town hall, to do their actual function and to be away.
Well, and they also get paid from this time to this time.
Yeah.
And if it
It's kind of-
falls on the day, because some days they don't work, some,
I
I
know, but
hear what
I
you're
want
saying.
them to, I'd like them to evolve.
Well, sure,
So,
sure.
that's the
But
whole.
there's the realities. I mean, for example, we often go to meetings over in Harrisville.
Yeah,
There's one person there. And that one person is dealing with, fire permits and blah, 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 blah.
I'm
registration
100%,
data,
I live in a small town, I came from a small town, I understand that, but that doesn't mean that I can't hope that the leadership in the communities can evolve a little more, because they are responsible for staff and for leadership and for setting a tone and a culture in
Yeah.
that town administration.
right. And I think that, we had that relationship with Michael Branley from Swansea, but he of course left to go to Wyndham, and now they stole Ringe, town administrator, and so she's gonna be coming over here. Once she's officially in and going, I'll reach out to her, develop that relationship, and hopefully next year she gets herself
Right,
and other
that's-
people to.
Right, that's what I'm talking about, I think it's important for those people
Yeah.
to,
It's-
have take advantage of the opportunity before them.
We have, through the years, we've done multiple opportunities. It was interesting, like when the COVID was at the very beginning, we started doing Zooms on a regular basis. And for a period of time, we had a boatload of people. But over time, they just sort of drifted off. But then all of a sudden, the CARES money came in, so we helped them with how to understand that, what the requirements there were. And then it drifted away again. Then the ARPA monies came in, and we helped them understand that they actually had money. Some of these towns didn't even know that they had monies available to them, and that we were sending them money too. And so, and we've done right to know in 91A's trainings, and we've had 6 people, aside from us, 6 people attending. And we've even done it with hybrid, so it's it's still 6 people. So it is a little frustrating, but we'll continue it.
So, and I know that they're only scheduled to work on certain days, but you know what? If this thing is scheduled 6 months out and they can't adjust their schedule,
And it
then
was,
there's an issue.
a ways out, so.
It was a ways out, so
Yeah,
I just think, for me, some of these towns need to get up
Boy,
to speed
I wouldn't
on.
wanna be in the Ringe Town Hall when you get back home.
Well, there is a board meeting tonight, and I am gonna talk about that. We're trying to figure out who's gonna be the interim TA, and that's gonna be a heated argument.
So how much musical chairs are there when the
Yeah, where do they
administrator
go?
from Swansea, now Ringe, now is somebody from Nelson gonna go to Ringe, you know?
You never know.
Seems like it.
You never know, it really, it's always interesting. I mean, I think this is a great opportunity for her to move over to Swansea. It's a different atmosphere, a different way of
Well,
doing things.
everybody wants to
and
move
they-
up,
and
you
they-
know, to a
and
bigger
look at
community,
Mi- you know, Mike moved to Wyndham, which is an up-and-coming town. It's growing every year because it's right on the border. And so,
And you think there's only certain upward mobility for a skill set. So, in order to gain new skills or experience or money, you have to sort of stay within that circuit,
yeah. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna keep on going, but it was, by all that attended, it was a great success. Terry, I apologize ahead of time if you were reached out to by the DOT, but I don't think they ended up doing it at the end of the day. Alstead is moving forward, has some bridge projects that they're gonna be looking at, and some work on the river, and
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
and I'm not able to attend on Thursday, up in Alstead for that,
I
and,
can't either.
yeah, no, they ended up saying, no, we're just gonna go with 2, and when you can join us later on, and I said, okay, I said, I can see if somebody like, Commissioner Clark was with me when we did the Hinsdale Bridge, and he was actually, I said, I think he's actually the chair, of that.
Yeah.
So, I can't remember if it was up here, I don't know. I've done so many of them now. So that was that.
Roxbury, we were on both of them.
Yeah, Roxbury, that's it,
That was terrible for us.
yeah. City of Keene, we had the meeting last week where New Hampshire Municipal Association came down and spoke. If you check your emails, you'll have the packet that was handed out to the New Hampshire Municipal Association. I sent it to you as this meeting was going on this morning. And they just talked about what's coming our way from the state of New Hampshire. And it was an interesting conversation. At the end of the day, I did talk on a few times about certain things that were there, and they did zoning at the very beginning. And we probably had 40 people in the room. By the time they got done with zoning, I think we had 20. It took so long. And then they had all this other important stuff, and it was like the stuff that I was actually there for. But what I learned out of it is the winner of this session is religion. Because the zoning ordinances that they have coming in is going to allow churches to not have to go to the city for approvals for whatever they're doing. They're like their own little governmental body that they can just build what they want is one thing. And then the other one is that there's a bill going through that will currently, a church is the only thing that's not taxable. So, if they have a parking lot, if they have a playground, if they have a school, those things are taxable, I guess. And that's all going away. That will not be taxable whatsoever. So I'm like, wow, they're doing a good job today for the church. So, yeah,
So we can have a storefront church right on Main Street.
you could. I don't know what it means, but I
Does
was
that
like,
mean one of those televangelists
No,
about
it's-
come to
it's-
Keene,
it's more about housing.
Yeah.
They are looking at that, well, at least that's what was brought up in the meeting, is they're looking at housing and building housing
So what's
to
that got to do with
help
church?
with their churchgoers that are, which is great,
I
but
didn't know churches
don't you
were
think it
into
should,
housing.
should meet some level of standard? That's the only concern I have.
I didn't know the church.
And that in that they're taking away, that right now you need 2 exit egresses and stairways. And they're saying that you only really need 1 now.
Who's saying that?
State of New Hampshire, the bills.
That's insane.
I mean, there was things I'd be sitting there and I'd be looking at it and like, really? I mean, why was the second one added in the first place? Probably because
Right.
there was a fire and that way it was blocked.
Right.
And people
With
died.
the bodies of people trying to escape.
Yeah, when did they change the window sizes for people on houses that have people with developmental disabilities in them? After a tragedy in Tilton, New Hampshire, where people died, and all of a sudden the windows had to be bigger.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, do we really want to go back that? But it is what it
And who
is.
proposes those kinds of things?
State legislators.
How, you know, they
They're
never
voted
fail
for
to
by the
disappoint.
good community members, you know.
So,
Jeez.
yeah.
So City of Keene seems to be having its issues.
Let's keep moving. So don't trip me up like that, or just don't do that, that's not fair. So that was, it was a good meeting, and they had a lot of stuff there. I did talk about, they brought up House Bill 316. I told them where we stood on that bill. They are against 316, House Bill 316. That is the funding that Representative Hunt has brought forward, and they are supporting Senator Prentice's bill, which we support. And what's good, there was a hearing last week in the Senate on House Bill 316. It was the same day as the training that we had down here. So Jack went up on our behalf, and we also had an ambulance up there, and they had 20 ambulances circling the building during the whole thing. And if you know the first floor, they have all kinds of windows right there. So they just kept seeing ambulances going around
That's awesome.
and around and around. And the room probably holds comfortably maybe 40, maybe, and if they said they had about 80 there, all in uniform. And it was good because Jack's a little different from that. I mean, he had his Cheshire EMS stuff that he has, but he's also, somebody, coming in from a different view. And yeah, it was
That's
I
awesome.
know what he said, and he hammered the bill. He handed the sponsor of the bill, and really outlined, because we had worked through a lot of it, the importance of getting the revenue the levels that it needs. And it's to me, and I said this to some of the people at the meeting the other night, it's real simple. Our bill is this, $1,800, $1,900. We get a check from Anthem for $367. Then it's balance billed to the person that was in the ambulance. And they push back, and all of a sudden, Anthem says, here's a check for $1,600. So they initially wanted to pay 16% of what the true cost was. Then they jumped up to 84%, and they asked for the $300 back, which keeps it right around 84%. And we're not talking about 84% in these bills. We're talking less than that. That's $1,600. The Senator Prentice's is only going to generate $1,200, and John's is $800. So, they can pay this level, so they can pay the 350%. And I said, you hear percentages like that, and you think, wow, that's a big jump. It's really not. It's just how far out of whack we are. So it is what it is. Just wanted to also tell you that we submitted a proposal to Winchester for ambulance services being the primary. We're waiting to hear, and they will take their time, and they'll get back to us if they have other questions. I know that they were looking at other opportunities too.
So how would that work? I mean, their town meeting has already appropriated money for their fire services and EMS and all that. Okay, so, our proposal comes in, would they be able to use that money that was
They have monies,
appropriated for that?
they have, my understanding is where we're at is within the framework of where they're at, where their monies are. They can choose to do it however. There may be one issue, and that is, the town voted in the EMS services, and they may have to allow it to be disbanded and let us come in. I'm not sure that's something I think they're looking at. They're not sure about that, but that's something I've heard, and we'll see. I mean,
Is
the
that
bottom
through
line is
warrant article?
we just so you know, we gave them a proposal. a cost based on the numbers that we've talked to you about in the past. And at the same time, we gave them 2 addendums because they have 2 vehicles that we would want to take on. But one of the things we've done, we were manning when they didn't have staff, we were manning it down there, or we were sending people down to support what they didn't have. Now we're just doing it based out of our station here, because we can no longer just continue to do that. So it's no cost that we're incurring except for what we normally would staff. And the chief feels comfortable with that. So that's where we're at. I'll give you an update once I know more. And I may ask for you, because what happens a lot of times with the towns is all of a sudden they say, can you be at a meeting tomorrow? I would reach out to you and say, can you guys be there just to support our discussions?
This is the chief that had, tried to push the bill to only have 1 person in it. Dude.
So we're, that's where we're at. Yesterday met with facility directors of all the campuses that we have. And Cheryl was there, Davis was there, and also department heads of those buildings. So Catherine and Chief Kramer and Doug. We talked about how we started comparing and having a conversation about capital improvement planning, about contracts, what contracts we currently have, are there other contracts that we should be working together on? We've done this in the past, and what happens is over time, it just starts going in different directions. So we've pulled everybody back together, and we also talked about fleet. And as I've told you in the past, we're looking at Steve Perrin, who is our safety director. He's going to be working with us on he's already got some software that he's looking at to really start to develop an oversight of what they're already having. We're not changing what we're doing, but we're tightening up what we have, at least on the fleet side. And on the capital improvement plans, it's really talking about what we have now, how people are using it, what we should be using. Do we need to make changes? Do we keep some of the things that add different? It was a good, healthy, we thought it'd be an hour, ended up being about an hour and a half. And it was a healthy conversation about really tightening up how we're planning for the future. And so Cheryl, I don't know if you had any thoughts.
I think it was a great start to a conversation that's necessary.
Yeah.
So,
Doug, you were there too. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I agree. I think we can tighten some things up, and especially when I think about the jail, 15 years old, there's more and more capital needs, unfortunately, as the facility ages. So putting out a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, whatever you all decide, where we get a look at the life expectancy of the more expensive assets and can pre-plan for it, the better. Trying to learn some lessons a little bit with being a little bit behind on the camera system, and we have a 3-year plan for that now. But yeah, I think it's a good start to something that will be beneficial for sure.
Alrighty, thank you. I've been talking to my counterparts, and just so you know, it's none of them are official yet because they haven't, but they're looking at, some of them are looking at double, like 10%, 11% increases in taxes to be raised. So, the reality of what we've been talking about is real because other counties are seeing it too. A lot of them are now a majority of them do the fiscal, and so they're in the midst of doing it currently. And that's what I'm hearing from 2 or 3 of them, that they don't know how to contain themselves right now.
It'll be interesting how they try and communicate that.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no pretty way to say any of that.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're looking at their communities and what their communities are asking, and they're like, we're being pretty consistent with what our communities are looking at too. So I don't know, what I've asked is for Kate to, once July hits, by August, I'd like to have everybody's, what their increases were this year for taxes to be raised and go from there, so. Bridge closure, if you didn't see it, the Westmoreland did vote to maintain the closing of the bridge. They don't feel they have the ability to monitor, they don't. And we understood that, we knew that was coming. For the most part, we feel we're past the risk of flood. You know, there's three ways that the floods can really happen. There's the melt off from the Connecticut River and it backs up. Floods. There's the damming, ice damming that occurs that then blocks the river and floods Partridge Brook. So those two are pretty much, we're past those. So then the third one is that 100-year storm that happens every other Tuesday. And you know, does Westmoreland at some point get that, and what does that mean? And what it means is there would be delay in responses for emergencies, and because we'd be coming in from the highway. And also, for staff, it would be a longer drive in just for that period of time. But, and so I think that's pretty much where we're at.
I saw the new FEMA maps, floodplain maps. And it's really unfortunate that now that they have that new data, they've fired all the people that it's gonna be necessary for them to make new projections on, you know, what is a 100-year flood now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous now. I mean,
Well,
none of it has any relation to reality. Now that we have the new flood maps,
Yeah,
we know where, you know, where things are.
yeah,
But we're not gonna be able to have anybody to actually look at the data and formulate new, what are they, marks in time,
Mhm.
like 5 years, every 10 years, it's really unfortunate.
yeah. I don't pretend to understand, and it's going to be a wait and see. I mean, like I told you, I had a meeting with Homeland Security Director Buxton, and he was very clear that when he was in DC, what they're looking is to put it back on the states to support their communities in crisis. They've pulled out of North Carolina. Their work there's not done, but they've pulled out. You know, when as we come into the fall, isn't that usually when that's the hurricane season, or whenever the hurricane season is? Where's that going to hit? Is there going to be destruction? Is there going to be wildfires? Is there going to be the flooding that we saw in North Carolina? And what happens then? Because what he said to me is that they're looking at FEMA to be more of a Red Cross type food and housing for a period of time, and not the financial backbone, not the engineering that he is now going to be looked to for he said, I'm going to have to hire engineers, and I need to find a place for them, and I need to, it's going to be very interesting.
You know who is acting on the new FEMA maps? The insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're raising rates everywhere.
Yeah.
Right here in Keene. You know, Otterbrook,
Yeah.
especially, Ward 1 is gonna get nailed.
Yeah.
Property owners, they're gonna get nailed.
Well, I think what I've heard too is we're all getting nailed because of all the insurance rates, because of all the monies that are being spent on the billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. So it is what it is, and we're just gonna have to figure out what the new norm is and learn how do we work with it. Brian Thistle is a restaurant up in Westmoreland, New Hampshire.
Right near the town hall.
Yes, it's a great place if you ever want to go someplace for a nice. They have brunch they have breakfast in the morning until noon, and then they have a nice lunch afterwards. Not why I'm saying it. They also have a 3-bedroom apartment above, or sideways to it and above, and then they have an apartment down below. We are as of June 1st, we will be taking that on, and
The 3 units.
the 3 units. It's 4 total. It's 1 downstairs, 3 upstairs,
Okay.
and it's one apartment, 3 bedrooms upstairs. So,
Okay, we didn't have to put any of that out for bids. We're looking for places?
I'd never really thought about that. I wanted to,
Well,
my biggest issue right now is, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull everybody out of this city here and closer to the nursing home. That's.
Oh, I understand, yeah, sure, I just didn't
Yeah,
want.
no, I don't,
Make
I
sure we
don't,
have our
I don't
Ts
believe
crossed.
so, because in the get-go, and in the past, it's just need-based, and we just, and so, but if, I mean, I guess we could, but it just would slow the process down, because we have this, it fits the financial of what we're looking for.
Well, I think instead of doing that, why don't we just vote to, rather than to have to go through that process, vote not to. That way we're square.
I don't even know if we have to vote on it, do we? I don't think, because we're just moving from one place to another that's been in place. It's, Valley Street here in Keene, and we're just moving it up to Westmoreland, closer to the nursing home.
So you won't have Valley Street.
Right.
So you're giving up one space
And moving
and
to another,
moving everybody to another.
yeah.
And, so do we have any connections with the owners of the space that we're moving into?
Yes.
And they are?
They are my sister-in-law,
Correct.
so,
That's what I was just.
And how does that look?
There's that.
yeah.
How does that look?
Well, honestly, and I was just texting Chris, I didn't wanna, I
Yeah.
figured even if we had to backtrack on this, it just needs to be disclosed. It has to be disclosed that that's a related party transaction. It does not disallow you to be able to do anything like that. You just need to have that as an understanding.
And-
But, I mean,
And I don't have any,
he's not getting any kickbacks on
I'm
this.
not getting like the,
You're not buying love
not mine.
So, I mean,
and affection?
Yeah,
in talking about this whole thing, obviously we need
I hadn't even
space.
thought about that, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, because I was just looking at need.
Yeah,
And I don't disagree that we have a need and it should be closer.
yes.
But people talk
Yeah,
in not so nice ways. And I don't have a problem with it.
yeah.
But I think going forward, do we address it differently in terms of put it out in the community that we're looking for things that somebody else might have been able to meet our needs with?
I'm not gonna disagree with that. I'll just show my support for this. I know the Valley Street property that we're currently utilizing because, with it being far away, but the property itself, we've had a lot of negative feedback, so.
So I
Having
don't have a
something close
problem
by
with
is
the
gonna
whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, perception-wise, moving forward, do
Yeah.
we do it a little differently? This year, I think, meets an immediate need, and I think to have people closer to the nursing home is important, because we have a lot of issues with, people not wanting to travel or it being an
Yeah.
issue, and I think this meets a really good need for staffing, for people not traveling.
Yeah, again, I think it's a great point, because I just, all of a sudden, their daughter bought a house.
Right.
And she's like, would you guys be interested? And I'm like, Westmoreland, a mile from, not even a
Correct.
mile away
They
from
could
the
bicycle to
nursing.
work if they had to,
Right,
right?
or, right,
So I think, yes, this is a good opportunity to have staff closer, especially since we already have bridge problems and all the rest of the stuff.
yeah,
It will do that, but I think going forward, do we put it out in the community that we're looking for housing
yeah.
in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, there is gonna be an opportunity coming up, I'm not gonna talk to it in public right now, of us looking at, some of our property, and looking at it in a way that we could utilize that for the, but we'll talk about that at, in
Do we
another
need to
time.
put in an elevator?
No,
No, I'm never mind.
okay,
I would just feel more comfortable if we would just register our support to pursue the barn and thistle?
the apartments above the
Yeah,
barn thistle.
I support it.
I assume that the cost is realistic
It's equal,
within.
it's equal to what we're paying now.
Yeah, it's all inclusive, there's no, in
It's
this
actually
particular-
probably-
Which is probably, being in the town of Westmoreland, is probably high rent.
Yeah, right now at our other properties, we're having to pay for electric, internet. I don't think we have, no, we have to pay, yeah, I think it's just electric and internet, I
Yeah.
believe. Fuel is included in the other two properties, but this would include internet, it would include, it's all inclusive. It's just basically a flat fee. And if we stay consistent with what we're charging everybody, because I think we're charging like $800 per rental unit. If we continue to stay consistent with that, we're actually gonna get about another $50. We're not trying to make a profit off of these people, but I think it helps for any time that maybe there's a vacancy and there's nobody living in it, if that happens, and/or, you know, if there is a rent increase, but, so it is self-sustainable, and then a little bit, so.
Great.
But it is our goal to get everybody as close to the nursing home as possible moving forward. I think
Except for the fact
initially we were
Okay, so-
responding to a crisis of trying to find places for people because we're losing them, so that's what we did.
Well, I was thinking when you first brought it up, but why are we getting rid of Valley Street, you know, when the Canadians come in? We're gonna need something, right?
That is something that we don't do.
Part of their process.
They do, and they're bringing family down,
All right.
so
Yeah, okay, all right, that's fine.
that is something.
But their ability to do.
Yeah.
If we had something and,
They'll ask us at some point to have people, work with some realtors that are out there to help them find some things, and we'll go from there, but that's what in our meetings, that's what they've told us, and if Kim was still here, she could, talk to that too.
yeah,
One
I
of the
understand all of that,
downsides
but
of-
being one of those realtors,
Yeah,
it's,
there's nothing,
yeah.
yeah,
One-
it is the hardest issue right
Yeah, and
now.
one of the downsides on Valley Street is it's a upstairs or downstairs apartment, I can't remember, but it's an apartment that are shared, and then there's another family either living upstairs or downstairs, and there's a lot of, there's
Yeah.
noise, at least with our Keene one at EMS, it's all people living there that are travelers, so they respect each other's quietness. Same thing with the apartment or house that we're renting in, Westmoreland from Blanchard, it's a house all dedicated, this would be the same thing. Yes, there is the store downstairs, but, I think it's just the opposite. I think at Valley Street, they're downstairs and they've got a family
Family
living above
upstairs,
them. And
right.
they,
And it's limited
Pitter patter,
parking.
pitter patter, pitter
Yeah,
patter.
yeah.
But it's worked for us in the short period of time when we needed something, so. But thanks for the point, because again,
And I
I
apologize, I
just
should
got
have brought
excited
that
that
up
we had a
ahead of
place
time.
near, yeah. Passenger elevator is working out at nursing home, as you remember, the earthquake.
Yeah, congratulations
that's-
to them, that's awesome.
Right, and then last but not least, met with Cheshire Medicals this week. We have what we call quarterly meetings, and for the last year, they've pretty much been canceling them, not us, but they have been because things are good. And so we had one this week, but it wasn't because of anything, but just because we haven't met in a year, and they're very appreciative of the service and the work that we've done across the board, with 911s, with interfacility transfers, especially for them, and with the wheelchair support that we've given. Smart Ride, it's been a huge lift for them. What we did recognize that there are some people on their side that aren't at the table that should be, so that we can have a little bit better communication about certain things. It's interesting that they have floors that can call us about moving somebody, then they have a designated person that can do that for the ER. And sometimes no one talks to each other, and then they get upset because we say, no, we already have 3 ambulances, doing this. And it's because but it's on their side, it has nothing to do with us, so it was helpful, and there was some points, but nothing on our side really. they're very appreciative of the work that we've been able to do for them. So that's good, and they are looking at trying to have, Cheryl, they are getting a different vehicle, and I said, for their paramedic intercept program, I said, okay, but you need to give us that vehicle back.
Oh, okay, good.
Because we have to go through
Yeah.
proper process to get rid of the vehicle.
Yeah, well, we might use it.
Yeah, we might
Yeah,
use it too,
repurpose it, yeah.
but more importantly, the reason is the battery, they put multiple batteries in and there's a charging issue.
Okay,
So I don't know if I'm gonna be wanting to use that. But that's where we're at. Those are things that are happening. There's a lot of stuff going on. And you're gonna hear me constantly talk about, we're monitoring this, that, and the other thing, like with Suzanne. It's because we just need to stay on top of it. I'm curious to see if there's going to be an axe that falls or not. And I don't care if I'm seen as Chicken Little and the sky's falling or not. I'm just, that's what I feel is part of my job, to try to figure out what's gonna be happening, and then how do we deal with it and how do we move forward. I still say there's about 3 different levels or ways that ProShare could be going away from us. And that's why I requested the meeting with Henry Littman, because I want to see if there's any changes to that. But also it could affect Connected Families New Hampshire with some of the Medicaid cuts that they're talking about at the federal level, not giving those monies, those type of programmings, Medicaid funding monies to the states, and then the states then don't have those revenues coming in, then they can't pay us, then the program goes away. It's as simple as that. And we'll see where it goes. So I'm gonna keep on talking about it.
Well, I don't think it's panicky or anything. I think you said earlier that not knowing anything, obviously you're standing by the phone, see what the hell's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I did, one thing I did forget is I did have an opportunity to talk to Chase Hagman. Chase Hagman was the deputy director of Gopher. He is now director of BEA. And he is at the state level, and then he's been a very good friend to Cheshire County. And I've been trying to see if we could get some of the monies of the 149 million that came in for the broadband, so I've been being phone tag. I was able to talk to him last week, and that was for any monies I was getting it for Southwest Fire Mutual Aid. And they've had 3 years to come up with a plan. And I'm afraid that if that money's just sitting there, at some point somebody's gonna claw it back because it's not being used. And so I said to him, it's gonna get clawed back. And he said, they say they have a plan and it's gonna be coming out in the next, month or so. I said, great. I said, but they also said that there'd be money left over, and that we might be able to qualify for some of that. And then he later on said that he reached out to the person. He said, it's out of my department now, it's over here. He reached out to the guy and said, we're using all of it and that they wouldn't qualify it. This is the same guy that told me that we would. And what they don't know is that the secretary in the Biden administration, the Secretary of Commerce, who actually brought the monies to the state, said we could actually, it's up to the state to make those. This is not a federal thing, it's a state thing. And so if they've changed it along the way, and I just said, I'll agree to disagree. I'm gonna look in a different avenue, but if some reason that comes about, don't forget, as he said, Chris, what I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna tell my people, let's look for grants to help you guys with this. So we'll see. I can tell them, I said, you can't hate me for asking, because if I don't ask, I know what the answer is. So that's where we're at. We're gonna keep on looking.
You're gonna use it for the general fund?
We'll see. So, all right, I'm gonna keep on moving on. Any old business?
Old business. I thought you were gonna get the county attorney and the sheriff in here to talk about policies as far as how to deal with ICE and in general, whether we're a
Sanctuaries?
sanctuary town or something, yeah. I thought we were gonna have that clarified.
To be honest with you, I did mention something, and Eli's been away, I will follow up with that, but I also got mixed messages too. Because I also felt like I should sort of leave it alone and just see how it plays. And it's sort of coming from you. And so if I will do whatever you want and follow that up. It was interesting this week, I've been doing some homework on it too. It looks like Rockingham is going to be the first county to sign on. I need to be better educated, and I've been trying to do that. about what it means to us if we can actually do that. Doug, is that true that Rockingham could be the first ICE county? Along with Stratford, I should say Stratford's been doing it, but they've been doing it for.
Yes, I heard they were considering it. Stratford is already, has a contract and accepts, ICE detainees, and they have for a number of years. They had been the only one. In the recent discussions, I've just heard it's under consideration at Rockingham and possibly Merrimack.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact status of that or their commitment to it at following through at this point. But it was mentioned at our last superintendent's meeting that they were heading in that direction or contemplating doing so.
Yeah, our administrator call last week, I was asking Ray Bauer from Stratford County, my counterpart over there, a lot of the questions that came up, like if we do we need to have them separate from the body as a whole? And he said, yes and no. And then I asked him if we are liable for any actions being brought forth because we're housing these individuals by the ACLU. Yes and no. And then I said, do you get a daily rate of some sort? Yes. He said, and he said it's great money. He said it depending on. I mean, they have a multitude. I mean, their corrections facility. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they have a lot of people, a lot of feds, and a lot of they're like the key ICE. And what I understand is ICE is really looking for Rockingham and Merrimack and Stratford. Stratford's are in play, but these three, because they're close to the Rudman courthouse or Boston or wherever that needs to be, and so that corridor they're really looking at more so than ourselves. So I'm trying to figure it all out. I don't pretend to understand it, and Ray said one of the biggest issues is you don't get a lot of information out of the leadership of like ICE as much as you need to. You get a contract, it clearly states that they're not going to do this, and this, and I just don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how you could only do I don't know if you could actually take them up there right now, because I don't know where you'd put them if they can't be in population.
It would jeopardize our business with the federal inmate population in terms of their preferred and desired capacity from us, of the Vermont inmates.
Right. So it's just one of those things. How do you deal with all that?
All right, let's just find more information then.
Yeah, no, but I can also, have Eli, we've talked about it already, but the attorney, what I was gonna do was I was gonna pursue was with Primex, but it's like, what, am I supposed to or not? So I will follow up with some of the stuff if you want me to just see if there's anything, but at the same time, if it's not an issue at this point, do we just sort of, like we're doing with everything else, right now, wait and see to where it plays out? I don't know. And I've sent some emails to Chad, who's my counterpart in Hillsborough County, and he hasn't got back to me yet, so I'll have to follow up with him again. So,
I would like more information, just so that we have the facts. I don't feel like I have enough information. I don't want to jeopardize the funding we get from holding federal prisoners, because that's a more long-term relationship.
yeah.
The ICE thing, it'll eventually peter out. But the federal thing is a much longer, more solid relationship and income stream for the county.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at exchanging one for the other. I'm just looking at having information as to what the status is, period,
Yeah,
of people, that's all.
okay,
I'd go along with just the information, yeah.
yeah, and
I
I'll,
don't see any good reason to get involved, frankly. But whatever, you know.
I like information.
I'm not looking to
like
get
that.
involved, I'm looking to get information.
Yeah. Information's great.
I can also reach out to, I'll reach out to Ray again, who's doing the work, and also I'll reach out to the superintendent in Rockingham County, who seems to be educated in a lot of this stuff, if that helps. All right,
Thank you.
yep.
Well,
Any new business?
Everybody's, well, old business, I guess. Everybody who wants to go to Primex is signed up. So you two are all set, signed up for the 13th through the 15th, and your hotel rooms are all set.
And I got my wife on the Moose tour.
Oh, great.
She's been up here for.
You've
Sure,
seen
it
it
was full.
firsthand, you've seen it firsthand.
Oh, yeah, firsthand.
Yeah, when you hit your
First
car.
phase.
Yeah,
Did you hit him?
Yeah, we were all, we were sort of caravanning over to a convention over in Manchester, and where was that, in Stoddard?
yeah,
He was in Stoddard, just past the Beware of Moose crossing sign.
Of course.
Who'd have known? Anyway, yeah, the Moose tour was booked up, but apparently somebody is,
That's great.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, no new business, okay. Consent agenda item, vote to accept the weekly manifest and minutes of April 9th, 2025.
So, whoop,
Second.
Okay, any changes? Seeing none. Commissioner Clark,
yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
and Commissioner DiBernardo.
Yes.
All right. Anything to the calendar that we need to know?
We're at Maplewood next week, starting at 9:30. Catherine wanted me to remind you,
Remind me.
8 a.m.
That's a very good idea.
She thinks
Thank her.
she might have told you April 29th, but it's on the 30th. Sorry, usual Wednesday and everything.
Yep.
That's it.
And we also have to remember to go in a different, go,
9:30
South.
instead of 8:30?
but isn't, the bridge is closed, right? Isn't that what?
Yeah, so you just go through town.
Yeah, so Partridge.
You can drive by Barnet this way.
There you go. All right. Seeing no other business come before us, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Okay. Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
yes.
Commissioner DiBernardo.
Yes.
Hit,
Ooh, yeah, 2 o'clock meeting.
bye,
Yeah.
Doug.